Makes a move. CD Lamb is going to score.
Fourth, 1440.
And the Oilers Nation YouTube channel.
Well, a wonderful Wednesday afternoon. How are you? Welcome to the rainy edition of the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where it is Wednesday. Lotto 649, $50 million up for grabs. Good luck. Get your tickets. Someone's got to win. Might as well be you at PlayAlberta.ca. Man, we got a loaded show for you today. We have the tight end Canadian for the New York Giants. Theo Johnson will join us. We have Tyler Remchuk from Oilers Nation. Our Who Is It Wednesday guest is a top pick, was also a champion during his career, hoisted the cup. A few tips, a few hints for you. Played for two different teams in his career. Also, Eduardo Encina will join us. We'll continue to go around the NHL. We'll stop in Tampa Bay, where lots of changes. New captain, amongst other things. Spec will be by. The commissioner of the CFL, Randy Ambrosi. We got a killer show for you today. As always, you can get involved. You can text us 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our inbox. And Ewell's provided a great prize for our golf tournament on Friday. 7th annual Oilers Nation Classic, where we're very happy and honored that the Gregor Foundation is the charity that benefits from this. So I know many of you are going to be golfing. Now, it's tee off at 9:00. And so today we have a fun, this will be very brief, very quick. So if you're interested in golfing, this seems to become more popular amongst our audience. We'll do the donation of $100, and you get your name drawn, and we'll probably do the draw by 3:00. And then somebody's going to win, and you'll get a foursome in the tournament this Friday. Tee off is at 9 a.m. at Millwoods, and it is loads of fun. There's some great prizes that you can win. You can make me pay money if you can outdrive me, which really is not difficult. Let's call a spade here. I'm not big hitter Bob off the tee by any stretch of the imagination. So we have that on a hole and many other fun activities. So if you can golf this Wednesday and you want to help out the Gregor Foundation, we'll take 12 entries at 100 bones. 833-401-1440. And then one of you will win the foursome. And then you got some friends, you'll tee it up. Heck, get them to pay you each $25. You'll be $25 if you want to get in. So it's pretty good. So 833-401-1440. And then we will do the draw. So a text in and say, hey, I'm in. I want in for 100 bones, and I'll send you on where you can make your donation. Once you make your donation, then you're in. It's very simple. Not going to get a better deal than that. I'll tell you that right now. So 833-401-1440. If you want to golf this Friday in the tournament, help out the Gregor Foundation, have loads of fun with you and your buddies. Pretty good deal. So also on the show today, now there is one thing we got to clear up, because we got a lot of texts on Monday to the show, and I know maybe Con's got some more yesterday. I've seen people on Twitter, they're talking about how the Oilers, they shouldn't have played Broberg in the final two games of the season because that put him over the 80-game mark, and that's why he was allowed to get an offer sheet. So there's a few things here that are completely incorrect about that statement. Number one, Philip Broberg played his 80th NHL game, because keep in mind, if you're going off of an 80-game mark, playoff games count. He had played 79 prior to the season. So on opening night, he played his 80th NHL game. And remember, at the start of the season, everybody's like, hey, Broberg's going to be here. He should be a regular. A lot of people thought he was going to beat out Vinny Desharnais. So that was game 80, number one. Number two, I went back as I talked to a capologist and then I talked to a few agents because I was like, I don't see this anywhere. And I went to the CBA and guess what? There's nothing in the CBA when it comes to offer sheets and a minimum 80 games needed to be played. There's people on online because I Googled it and I went online and you see some sites have it. Oh, you know what? You need to play 80 games. No, you don't. That's for Group 6 free agents, which are not RFAs who are prone to offer sheets. Okay? Very different. Now, a guy like Ty Emberson, if he plays or doesn't play 50 NHL games this year, then he would become a Group 6 free agent if he wanted. Basically, he's a UFA. A little bit younger, right? So they protect players who don't get buried in organizations. That's the reason for that rule. But some people, I think, have confused the two things. So you can go read my article today at OilersNation.com. It has links to the CBA if you really want to get bored. You can go read it. And there's nothing in the CBA that I saw under offer sheets for restricted free agents that says there needs to be a minimum 80 games played requirement. And having talked to capologists, they said no. So that was just a little bit misunderstanding. So there was no big error by the Oilers. But even if, in theory, 80 games was a threshold, Broberg's 80th game was in game 1 of the regular season. So I don't think anybody at that time was thinking he wasn't going to play. All right. So there you go. Now, also, one other thing that I wanted to discuss. Now, I saw it yesterday, and we're at the Action Electrical Golf Tournament, by the way. Which hey, blind squirrel finds an acorn every day. We managed to find a way to win. 4 plugs who just drained a few putts, and all of a sudden, if your approach shots are okay, you have a chance to score. But there's Dante Fabro. The Oilers are going to acquire him, and I was like, what? Fabro? Why? So here's Dante Fabro. Now, many of you have watched the playoffs the last few years. Is Dante Fabro an elite offensive defenseman? No. Is he a real physical, highly competitive defender? No. What does he do? He's 6 feet tall. He's 190, 195 pounds. In the era of big defensemen where reach and speed and everything seems to matter a little bit more, why would you trade your only young defender currently in professional hockey who has a chance to become an NHLer? I didn't include Boake because he's still in junior. The Oilers don't have a lot of young defensive prospects. Trading Max Honor for Dante Fabro would be an unmitigated disaster, in my opinion, for the Oilers. Now, I'm not guaranteeing you Max Wanner's going to play. Right? He skates well. He defends well. He's got to improve his puck skills. He's raw. He's only played 1 year pro. He's only in his second year of his entry-level deal. I think he'll be in the minors all of this season. And then maybe next year might see a call-up or two. Great. That's kind of the normal progression for young defensemen, especially a 7th rounder. But Dante Fabro, you think Dante Fabro is the guy? Because not only where you give up a young defensive prospect who skates well, he's really raw, 6'3", fills a lot of boxes on what defensemen are on cup contending teams now, excluding the rare super freaks, guys like Quinn Hughes and others. Although I still question how good Quinn Hughes will be in the playoffs. We'll see. But why would you do that? Dante Fabro's not the answer. I get that some people look at the Oilers' blue line and they're a little concerned. I understand it. I think it's fair. However, I looked at Troy Stecher. Now, Troy Stetcher's played 496 NHL games. And if you actually look at Troy Stetcher's number, he's played over 5,000 minutes. That's a pretty good sample size. 5,000 minutes, 5-on-5, against either elite or middle tier forward lines. And in those 5,000 minutes, he's -2, 5-on-5. And remember, he's played on some pretty bad teams. So he didn't have the opportunity where, hey, you know what? Some shifts I'm with McDavid and Draisaitl. I might not even touch the puck, but we're going to score goals. Right? That's a benefit that every defenseman has when you play with them. You don't have to defend as much, usually. So you go back and you look at the teams he played on, and in those 5,000 minutes, he's only -2. Like it's 166 goals for, 168 goals against. Or maybe it's 176, 178. Either way. Do I think Troy Stecher in the regular season can be good enough for the Oilers? I do. Would they need an upgrade to get deep in the playoffs? 100%. But I don't see any need to have to panic in the next 3 weeks before training camp to figure out the blue line, where you might have to overpay, or we're going to give up one of our only young defensive prospect who's in pro hockey right now for Dante Fabro, who to me, I'm not really sure what he does or what he brings. Honestly, I don't see it. So you can, you can let me know on that. But if you see something different than I am, feel free, because I don't really see it for Dante Fabro. He is not an answer at all for any question for what do the Oilers need to do on their back end. I don't see it. Hey, Greggs, you mentioned at the start of the month that you wouldn't be concerned for Draisaitl signing unless it gets to September. Yeah, well, even then I said if it got to September, and you're right, Mike, I did say that. But even if it got to September, I'm not overly concerned. Is there a chance Draisaitl leaves 100%? But the numbers really, and unless Draisaitl is going to really ask for a massive number, because term, I don't see it being an issue. Whether you want 4 years, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever it's going to be. Salary, I think the Oilers would have been comfortable up to 13.5. Makes him the highest paid guy in the league. Now, does he have numbers to suggest he should command way more? Not really. A little bit. Like he might be able to push it to 14. But I don't think he has numbers that say he can be 15 plus. Honestly. Now, some team might pay you that because, hey, somebody paid Goodbranson $4 million a year. It happens all the time. So somebody might do it. But we'll see. The Oilers really, the regular season doesn't begin until October 9th. In an ideal world, would they probably want Draisaitl signed before training camp? Yes. Does it mean he can't sign an extension once training camp begins? No. Right? Unless him and his agent have we're not going to negotiate in the regular season, which would seem odd because, we can go through history of players who have signed extensions during the season being a UFA. Right? We have. There's lots of them. So some have gone down to the wire in the past. Heck, Steven Stamkos, what was it, like a day before? I think he was even in the window of negotiating before he re-signed in Tampa the first time. So, can it be a distraction? Possibly. I'm not sure. I guess it probably becomes more annoying because when he goes to different markets, like here in Edmonton, as a reporter, it would be foolish for me to ask Leon Draisaitl every week what's new in his contract negotiation. Every month, he could probably live with. But every road city he goes into, to people who only see him, in some cases once a year, some cases once every 5 months, well, they're going to ask him. Now, his answer is probably going to be the same every time, but maybe he gets annoyed with it. I have no idea. But it's one where there's not much anybody outside of the negotiation can really do to impact it. I'm not, like maybe Connor McDavid. Hey, Leon, what, do I think Connor and Leon have conversations about their future? Yes. But I'll be honest, I don't know if they go into detail exactly like you take this much, I'll take this much. That would be me guessing. I don't have any concrete knowledge of that. I'm not sure you would, to be honest. I don't know. It would be weird, but we'll see. Hey, Gregor, Stecher isn't 6 feet tall. I'm surprised you support him as a regular option in the regular season, Sean. It's a totally different game. Watch the playoffs. Watch the regular season. Contending teams in the playoffs have bigger D-men. Now, Troy Stetcher's really mobile. He can skate. He's competitive. Guy's played 500 NHL games. He knows how to play in the NHL. I have no problem with that. But the playoffs are just simply a different beast. Bigger if the skill set is equal, the guy who's 6'2" has a big advantage over the guy who's 5'10". It's just very simple physics. He does. So not a big issue for me in the regular season is all. Hey guys, what about this in the next CBA for offer sheets would be allowing the team who's at risk of losing the player to have a 48-hour bargaining window to find a better deal. The Oilers deserve more than a second for Broberg, and that $1 million below the threshold cap would be a risk for the team making the offer. That way, the team losing a player can get more. It forces the initial team sending the offer to really think about it. If it'll be enough and the player still gets the contract. Yeah, but what's the benefit to the player? Keep in mind, if you're negotiating this into the CBA, why are players wanting to agree with what you just wrote? I don't see much benefit for the players. It benefits the teams, benefits the fan base, doesn't benefit the players. So I would probably have a hard time thinking they're going to do that. So and honestly, they're so rare. I don't think, like, let's not go Matt Duchene on offer sheets. Matt Duchene offside. We saw what happened when you react to 1K. And by the way, Broberg, I'm not sure his number is really any. Well, actually, I'm confident it's probably not going to end up as bad as what the Kotkaniemi one has been for the first 4 years of that deal. I'd be surprised. So, hey guys, the Oilers need to pay Draisaitl $14 million plus an extra 4 over 8 years as a prepayment for beast mode. Yeah, probably not. Right? But I see your point. He's he's been great. There's no doubt about it. But they could counter this year in the Cup final. Didn't get a lot from 29. And that, like, the truth is, and it's such a fine line. And that's why timing in life, timing in negotiations, it can be everything. Because had the Oilers won a cup, lots of things change now. Now you can say cup winner. Right? Like, because if you're not a cup winner, guess what? You're just a cup loser. It's that easy. And there's way more of the latter than there are the former. And so regardless of what you do, like, Draisaitl was unbelievable. We've seen his numbers historically in the playoffs are great. They might look and say, well, geez, Dallas, Florida series. Now, the Dallas series, they didn't technically need it because they won. But what if Draisaitl would have been maybe more productive in the Cup final like it normally was? Maybe that would have been the difference. Who knows? We'll never know. It's because they'll never replay those games. 833-401-1440. We've got, we're halfway filled in our golf slots. All right. So if you'd like to get in, it's 100 bones, get you in the draw. And what you win is a foursome to the tournament on Friday. So that's a pretty good $100 deal to get in the foursome on Friday at the Oilers Nation Classic. Get you and 4 of your buddies. Heck, probably tell one of your buddies, hey, you want to golf? It's $25 each. Yeah, I'm in. Done. So really, it might only cost you $25. Pretty good deal. So, and then we'll do the draw. 833-401. Just text in with your name and that you're in, and then we'll send you the information on where you can make your donation to the Gregor Foundation. When we return, New York Giants tight end, the Canadian Theo Johnson, will join us on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing? Every Friday after 4 p.m., it's 9 and Dine Fridays. Includes golf for 2 with a power cart at Cattail Crossing and a $50 food voucher at Out of Bounds Restaurant. Only $119.99. Tea times can be booked at cattailcrossing.ca.
It seems the price of everything is redonkulous. So at Wolf GMC Buick, we're trying to make it easy on your wallet. We have a huge selection of GMCs with finance rates starting at 0%. Wait, did I just say 0%? I did. And why am I talking to myself? Oh boy. The prices are fantastic. Selection top-notch. And the vehicles? Well, you already know that they're stellar. Get into Wolf GMC Buick now, just off the Anthony Henday. Wolf GMC Buick. we're making it easy.
Rule number 37. Elk Island mosquitoes don't believe in personal space. Keep bug spray ready at all times. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
For a Sally hockey fans, your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical. Ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
The Charm Offensive with Jim Jeffries.
Every generation before you has also been the most progressive generation.
And Jimmy Carr.
I don't know how to explain this to you. I'm not that small. I'm just far away.
One night, two comedy icons. September 8th, Rogers Place. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.ca. The Charm Offensive with Jim Jeffries and Jimmy Carr. Produced by Outback Presents.
Need a new AC, furnace, duct cleaning, or water treatment system? Save up to $2,500 on a complete system and get a 12-year parts and labor warranty with Modern Air and Water. Your Air Ease Pro dealer at modernairwater.com.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
The only thing as hot as the weather this summer is a night out at On the Rocks. Every weekend, enjoy live music and top DJs spinning your favorite tracks. The dance floor is the place to be. Celebrating a birthday or stagette? Let OTR take the work out of the planning for you. Book your party online at ontherocksedmonton.com. Join OTR every evening from 4 p.m. for a great atmosphere and good company. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Grab your Good Vibe Tribe and head to On the Rocks, corner of Jasper Ave and 118th Street.
Have you lost control of your debt following unexpected car troubles, home repairs, an illness, or a divorce? You're not alone. Life happens. My name is Parveen Middleton, a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton, and I'm here to listen to your story. Every day, I craft personalized debt relief solutions to help people like you regain control. Take the first step now. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to book your free consultation.
If you've ever restored a classic car or seen one, you smile because you know what it took to get that beauty looking pristine. The same is true for men who restore their hair. Nothing but smiles for miles. Patients from all over Canada travel to see me, Dr. Vance Elliott, to have their hair loss treated and remedied. I've been helping people for 28 years. My practice is outfitted with the most innovative and latest hair transplant techniques and technology. And I do it myself. Contact us at drvanceelliott.com.
People living with Parkinson's disease are unshakable, and every year we celebrate them. On Saturday, September 7th, join Parkinson Association of Alberta at Rundle Park for our 12th annual Step and Stride Walk for Parkinson's. Visit parkinsonassociation.ca and support those affected by Parkinson's disease and Parkinson Plus syndromes. Come together with family and friends and raise much-needed funds. Your donation provides support, education, and programs that improve quality of life. Learn more, register a team, and donate today at parkinsonassociation.ca.
Take on summer adventure with GMC. Right now, get 0% financing for up to 60 months on the 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Elevation. With Sierra's available 5.3-liter V8 engine, 13.4-inch diagonal premium infotainment system, plus available adaptive cruise control, you'll have everything you need to get out of town comfortably this season. Hello! Definitely not comfortable with that. Ask your GMC advisor for details.
2:23 Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook, as always, streaming live on sports1440.ca. It is the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website, where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province of Alberta at PlayAlberta.ca. Hey guys, I'm with you regarding Fabro. Marginal upgrade over Stetcher at best. The Oilers should finish near the top of the regular season standings, regardless if they add a D today. They'd be better off to do it at the deadline. Fabro deal doesn't make any sense to me. I'd rather have Ceci at $750K more, and I assume they could have just given San Jose an extra pick or something for Emerson from Dave. Well, see, that's the thing. So it's not only do I look and say, now you're giving up a good young player, Max Winter. Then the whole purpose for the Oilers of trading Cody Ceci was to free up cap space. So Evander Kane, if he's not ready to go to start the season, which seems very likely, then they don't have to put him in LTIR. They can keep him on IR and accrue cap space. If you acquire Fabro at $2.5 million, then that's out the window. Doesn't make any sense to me. So you're getting, I think, a marginal guy for what your long-term goals are. And then you're limiting your cap flexibility. All in one fell swoop for Dante Fabro. Why? I don't know where that rumor came from, but I can tell you, I don't think there's any truth to it from Edmonton's perspective. So I would be very, very surprised. Greg's, how do I get in on this golf? Very easy. So the golf tournament is this Friday, okay, 9 a.m. And we now have 6 spots left to get in the draw. We got really good odds to win. Okay, it's $100 donation to the Gregor Foundation, and then the winner gets a foursome in the tournament. So think about it. You split that between your 4 buddies. It's $25 each guy to play in the tourney. Okay, so you have loads of fun. So if you want it in, just text in your name to say I'm in for the golf draw, and then we'll send you where you can make your donation. So I see that Don and Mike and Phil have already paid. We have others who are going through the process as we speak. So you're not officially confirmed until the payment's in, but most people are doing it. So away you go. So if you want to golf Friday, I looked at the weather. It's going to look great. And it's loads of fun. It's 9 a.m., so it's not too early, but you get to start your weekend earlier if you like. And if you like golfing, this is the Oilers Nation 7th annual golf tournament. It's all in support of Gregor Foundation. And I can tell you, it is a fun tournament. It's not stuffy. It is super fun. Loads of fun. Lots of fun holes. So you'll enjoy it. Lots of fellow Oilers fans. You can all stress out together. You can all be excited together, depending on your mood of the day, on what you think the Oilers are doing. So it's going to be great. Hey, guys, it'll be costly to get the top 4 guys, especially if it means dealing with Calgary or Ottawa for Zuber Anderson. From Mark. Well, Mark, can you name a team that's added a top 4 for nothing? Yeah, like it's going to be costly. But look back at Matthias Ekholm trade. Does anybody have any remote reservations about that trade and what they gave up? I don't think so at all. So, and he had term, remember, right? Like he had lots of term, which is why it was essentially 3 first-round picks. But the Oilers, you look at guys who are penning UFAs, and there's a few of them, right? So as it gets closer, then the options, and there's only going to be so many teams who are in the running who want a right shot defenseman or who really need one that are willing to pay for it. Because sometimes, like if you already have 2 legit top 4 right pair defensemen, sometimes it's not the best to add another guy who's not, because now you got somebody who's a little disgruntled because now everybody's ice time. You still got to massage it. So we could probably go through the teams. How many teams would be looking for top 4 demon at that point who are right shots? I don't know. It's a good question, but we'll probably have a better answer. Because the thing is, today is one thing. You get into the mid-season, because there's going to be 1 or 2 teams that are either that we think are going to be a playoff team who suddenly won't be a playoff team come trade deadline. And then there might be a surprise team or 2. Now, those surprise teams or 2, are they going to want to take a big swing? History tells us no. So it's more going to be, there's going to be a team out there right now today that most of us are like, oh yeah, they're a playoff team. You're not even going to look at their roster thinking that they got an eligible player to move. But suddenly, maybe some injuries happen. Maybe their goalie plays bad. I don't know what happens. And they're out of it. And suddenly, they're a seller. It happens all the time. So pretty much every year, right? Like everybody had New Jersey locked in to be a playoff team last year. Didn't happen. Right? Didn't happen at all. Hey, guys, if Kane goes on the IR until the halfway point of the season, how much cap space do the Oilers accrue? Is it half his salary? No. JR and Red Deer. It would. So let's say Kane is on he's on IR to start the year, but not an LTIR. And let's say the Oilers are at 87 mil, right? So they're $1 million under the cap. But how the cap works is usually the salary cap is split out on a per day basis, right? Because that's how players get paid. They don't get paid per game. They get paid per day on the roster. And now signing bonus is obviously excluded. You get that automatically guaranteed up front. And then the remaining of your money is split over essentially 186 days. Some years is 185. I haven't counted the days in this year's season to know officially what it will be. But usually it's around 186. It's a pretty simple number. So away you go, right? So let's say it's $1 million. Then every day you're on the roster, you get 186, whatever the fraction is of $1 million. Right, that's what you get. And then if you're a $2 million player, splits over 186 days, and then each day, and then you get paid every few weeks, right? Twice a month. That's how it works. So when you accrue cap space, if the Oilers are at 87 mil to start, right? So every day that now they don't accrue half of Kane. What is Kane? 5.125. It's not like if he's on half the season, they accrue an extra 2.6 mil. It's how much cap space do they have on day one, and then on day two, and day three, and day four, and day five, and you get little increments of it. But it does build up. And it's a good question. I'd have to do the math. So let's say in theory, they didn't have any serious injuries. No one ever had to go on LTIR. But they might have somebody, who made 750 get injured. They have to call up an extra body. So they may be down to some days, you're only $100,000 under the cap. Right. So then obviously your accrued amount that day would be less than the day than you have $1 million under the cap. So there's different ways you have to look at it. It's not just a simple cut and dry. It's a formula, and it's based on what your cap hit is that day. And then the next day, because it can go up and down, of course, by day, right? If you have to recall a player, send somebody down, yada, yada, yada. So that's how it goes. Hey, boys, any idea if Trey Ford is playing? Now, the Elks practice today, Cons? Limited. So unless Trey Ford is like 100%, I don't expect him to play on Monday, which is unfortunate because for me, I think it's obvious when he's in, the offense just has a different dimension. It's a fact. Like Bethel Thompson, he's fine. The running game has been the bread and butter here lately for them. But Trey Ford's ability 4, 5, 6 times a game to scramble and extend a drive is something that Bethel Thompson just simply cannot do. He doesn't have the physical speed of a Trey Ford. So. Oh, so off today? All right.
I don't think he's going to be out there. Not even dressed against Montreal. I don't think he's going to heal that quick.
No, it's totally valid. The fact that he didn't have any gear on, probably a good indication he's really not that close. So, I don't know, maybe the rematch. Maybe, but it's crucial. Like Edmonton, if they have realistic hopes of the playoffs, I think they have to sweep Calgary. Because then they're going to play Winnipeg back-to-back, and the Bombers are starting to find their game. So. Hey, guys, why do you think the Sharks or Hawks have an offer sheet of guys like Sider, Raymond, or Jarvis? Well, so let's look at Mo Sider, for instance. Detroit has probably said, hey, we think this guy, we might have to pay him $9 million, $8 million at least. So to offer sheet him a number that Detroit's going to walk away from probably has to be 11 or 12. And even then, I'm not sure it's enough. So I don't see why they would do it. Because you'd have to go such a high number that it hurts you. Right? Like Broberg is a high number based on what he's done, but for 2 years at 4.6 for a team that's not really there, it's all right. Now I got to look at the Sharks. Do the Sharks have cap space to do it? Seth Jarvis, it sounds like him and Carolina are very close on a deal, and it's just a matter of days before that gets announced. It is interesting that it's both Raymond and Seider in Detroit. Let's be honest, though. Like, the closer you get to the regular season, then the player's like, well, now what happens? Because once the regular season comes, now the player's just losing money. You don't gain it back. And everybody knows that he can only hold out in, what is it, November 28th? I got to get the exact date, give or take. So then what? Well, you know what? We're going to argue over, let's say, $1 million. Well, then you end up losing that anyway. So for those type of big numbers, I'm not sure we're going to see an offer sheet.
$10 million for San Jose.
That's how much they have in
cap space. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Red Wings at 17. So
well, the Red Wings have lots, right?
Yeah.
So, but the Sharks, like, I think they paid Mo Seider $10 million. And the other thing here, Joe, is you're San Jose and you're Chicago. I don't think you're one player away from finishing your rebuild. But if you get Mo Seider for what you'd have to offer him, now you're giving up 4 first-rounders. Those are going to be some pretty high picks. Because I don't think Mo Seider could suddenly make San Jose not a bottom 10 team. I like him as a player, but they got a lot of holes. So. Hey, guys, Bowman's going to destroy the Oilers' chemistry. Needs to be removed. He's a loose cannon. He'll do something to satisfy his ego, his self-work that will set the team back. Ever since his hire, there's a dark cloud over the team. Can't trust him at all. His ego and pride will get in the way. The team is not his interest, using the team to satisfy his personal agenda to save his name and reputation. John. Well, I don't know if we have any proof of that, John. Those are some pretty damning accusations with really no proof on your part. Bowman spent 2 years, learning from the mistake that he made. And again, which we've talked about many times, he went to his bosses and they said, we'll take care of it at the time. So, but he still, to his credit, admitted he could have done more and then wanted to learn to be like, okay, make sure that doesn't happen again. I'm trying to think of, does he have a history of making trades for his ego or pride? I don't know. Sometimes you just make a trade and it doesn't work out. Is it because you're egotistical or prideful? I don't know. But hey, Gregor, can you only offer your team's draft picks and offer sheets? JP, yes. That's why St. Louis made that trade to reacquire one of the picks they traded away in the Kevin Hayes deal. So they made that trade, what was it, a day before or 2 days, or maybe even the morning of. I can't remember when it was official. But either way, they made that deal to with Carolina. Was it Carolina? Philly?
Pittsburgh.
To get Pittsburgh, sorry. To get the picks back. So yes, it has to be your own. It can't be, hey, we acquired a second rounder and we can use that second rounder. No, it has to be your own first, second, third, whatever it is in compensation, or multiple firsts. So there you go. Theo Johnson's practice is running late, so hopefully we'll get him on later. If not, we got Yaremchuk. Who is it Wednesday today? Champion. First overall pick, played for 2 teams, including his hometown team. So is it Wednesday? And the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
You adore your Audi, value your Volkswagen, baby your Beamer. But some of that love fades when repairs take several days and tons of cash for the dealership to do their magic. Let Cochran's Automotive rekindle the flame. They'll professionally repair your import, usually in one day. Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Honda, and Toyota. Cochran's Automotive will return her to mint condition. Open at 7 a.m. Let Cochran's Automotive repair your automotive air conditioning before things heat up. Cochran's Automotive, 780-452-5001.
Why tee off at the Ranch Golf and Country Club?
A fun, unique layout offering premier conditions. The Ranch has been ranked as one of the top public courses in Canada.
Unmatched value. Score Golf Magazine rated the Ranch as the the best value in Edmonton.
The service, from tournaments to special events to the pro shop. Superior service that makes every visit exceptional.
The Ranch Golf and Country Club, a laid-back environment where anyone can enjoy an amazing day on the fairways. For details, visit theranchgolf.com.
Be melancholy, not melancholy. Summer is ripe for fun, and some Booster Juice bestsellers are back in season. Watermelon smoothies, including the refreshing Watermelon Wave, a berry burst of strawberries, raspberries, pomegranate, and vanilla frozen yogurt. And fan favorites, Watermelon Explosion, a refreshing burst of bananas, mangoes, and pineapple, both made with watermelon sorbet and probiotic yogurt. All of the watermelon, none of the seeds. Visit a Booster Juice near you today, or download the Booster Rewards app.
Island Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada, with sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
Mr. Rooter goes on a water slide.
Welcome to the Sky Screamer. Please keep your arms crossed over your...
Oh, don't worry about old Mr. Rooter. I'm the last person you have to worry about clogging this pipe.
Actually, it's for your safety.
This plumbing-themed amusement park is amazing. To see the world from inside a giant pipe, it feels like Honey, I Shrunk the Mr. Rooter. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm ready to be flushed.
For a plumbing good time, slide into the DMs of Mr. Rooter.
Move Water is your one-stop shop for all things water. From freshwater to wastewater, we've got the pumps and solutions to keep your water moving where it matters most.
Move Water, your water solution experts.
Visit movewater.ca today.
Diablo Boots in Canada West. 2 great names in work and cowboy boots. For over 60 years, Diablo has been selling the best-made Canadian boots. Diablo has boots from sizes 6E to size 15 EE, just for you. Why buy boots made in China like Ariat, Justin, or Red Wing, when Diablo has the best quality for less, made in Canada? Diablo has work and cowboy boots with replaceable soles and heels for longer life. So, save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard, on the east side of Save On Foods. Hurry in today for best selection.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Did you know that Japa offers in-house and on-site service? Rain or shine, Japa's service department is here for you. Get a quote now at japamachinery.com.
A little Ozzy Osbourne coming out of nowhere on a Wednesday afternoon. Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. The Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Now, let's get to the oil report brought to you by Volvo Cars, Edmonton.com. Of course, they are Canada's #1 Volvo dealership. And right now, you can save $7,500 on all 2024 XC60 recharge plug-in hybrid models only until the end of the month. Stop in at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com as Tyler Yaremchuk from Oilers Nation joins us. Ty, we only got a few spots left in our auction today for people. They can donate $100 to get in the draw, and then one of them is going to win the foursome, the final foursome for the Oilers Nation tournament on Friday. What should be their expectations in this tourney on Friday?
Expectations are not on my team, so you're going to lose. No, I'm kidding. I have never won the Oilers Nation Open. It's a lifelong goal of mine, so I'll give it my best. But it's a great time, obviously, as you know, in support of a great cause. And the Millwoods Golf Course out on the south side there, it is a gem. I don't know if people maybe haven't played it before. It is really, really good. Like, they advertise it as private club conditions, and you get that. So it's always a good time. Basically, again, it's a 9 a.m. shotgun start. So from 9 a.m. on, we are partying hard out there. It's one of my favorite days on the calendar. I love it.
No, it is loads of fun. And so if anybody, it's very simple. It's $100 to get in the draw. and then we'll do the draw. You got really good odds to win, and then the winner will get a foursome, which is valued at $1,200, but you're only paying $100 essentially for yourself. So if you want in, text in 833-401-1440, and the tourney is this Friday at 9 a.m. And then we can send you on where you make your donation. So pretty simple. We got a few spots left to get in. So do it once we're full, then we'll do the draw. Now, the orders, we are less than 3 weeks from, just 3 weeks from the start of training camp. Just over 3 weeks to the start of preseason on September 22nd against the Winnipeg Jets. I got yesterday, I was golfing and people were, hey, Dante Fabro at Wayner. And I'm like, what? And then I looked at it and to me, that's an awful trade suggestion for Edmonton. There is, and I talked to some people, I'd say 0 chance that's happening for Edmonton. A, it screws them out of their cap situation because it puts them over the cap. And B, they're getting an average defenseman who doesn't really do anything. Not a great defender. He's not a great offensive player. He's not physical. He's a good NHL player, but he's not a difference maker. Why would you do it?
Yeah, I'm with you on it just because of the cap implications alone. Go into the year, be at a point where you can accrue cap space, keep all the picks that you've now accumulated, and wait until the deadline and see what shakes loose. Again, the season they got Matthias Ekholm, at this point in that season, what were we talking about? We were talking about a guy, Matthias Ekholm, who was relatively fresh off signing an extension in Nashville, and a team in Nashville who, going into that year, wanted to contend and wanted to compete. And when I look at some of the good options around the NHL, even a guy like Fabro, Nashville wants to contend, Nashville wants to compete. I don't think they're just going to move off of him right now. When I look at, a Larson in Seattle, I like what Yokoharu does out in Buffalo. Maybe he's a good mid-range option, but there are not a lot of teams right now heading into the 24-25 season that are truly out or believe they are truly out of the playoff mix. There's not a lot of teams out east that are going to be tanking and are going to be open to trading away roster pieces right now. I think the smart play for the Oilers is wait until the deadline, see who the surprise teams are that have fallen out of the playoff race and are going to be selling. Maybe right now, don't think it's possible they'll be selling, and go see if you can make a Matthias Ekholm-esque or maybe a smaller version of that. Go see if a trade like that falls into your lap later in the year. I don't like the idea of rushing right now to add a guy and ruining your cap flexibility heading into the year. At the end of the day, Troy Stecher, Ty Emberson, if you include Brown in there, if they bring in a PTO option, if they decide to go that route, I believe that will be good enough to get you to the deadline and be in good shape and then attack from there.
Yeah, I think it's one that you look at, because the truth of the matter is there's at least 2 teams today that most people have being a playoff team who aren't going to be a playoff team come the trade deadline. And then those teams suddenly could have some guys available that today no one thinks are available. That's why there's not the big rush.
Yeah, 100%. That's where I'm at. And I like Fabro as a player, but again, Nashville just went and spent how much money in free agency, bringing in Marchessault and Stamkos and beefing up their blue line. I don't think they're going to sit here on August 28th or September 28th for that matter and be like, yeah, okay, we'll trade Fabro, who's played a ton with Yossi. Yeah, we'll trade him for a 2nd or a 3rd round pick. Why not? It just doesn't make sense for them.
Yeah. Wow. The thing, Fabro he's just okay. He doesn't, I don't see what he does to make, at least for me anyway. I've never really been a huge Dante Fabro guy. I remember at the draft, there was people talking about Fabro and McAvoy being similar. Well, that was a 2016 draft. Look at 8 years later. It's not even close. So Dante Fabro is a good player, but he doesn't do anything great.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Again, they've made some bets on the right side. Keep your cap flexibility and let the bets that you've already made see what they can do a little bit. Again, there's no flashy names there. There's no one who's going to come in and I think, leave our jaws on the floor by December going, wow, I can't believe the Oilers have this guy. But I think Stecher can give you decent results. It was a super small sample size, but in 45 or 48 5v5 minutes with Darnell Nurse last year, they outscored the other team 3-0. I'm willing to give that a little bit of runway. Ty Emberson, he was banged up a little bit last season. He was playing on a not good Sharks team and still put up good results. Let's see what he can do with 30 games. And again, I think this Oilers team, that forward group is good enough. I think Stuart Skinner is going to be primed for a really, really good season. You have enough going for you where you can work through the problem of not having a great right side of your blue line.
Tyler Ramtrak joins us from Oilers Nation. Ty, do you think a PTO the Oilers are going to have any?
The only way I could like maybe if they're sitting there going, we don't really have enough vets to dress in preseason. But again, when you look at Connor Carrick and Josh Brown and the other two guys we talked about, you should have enough vets to get you through the preseason where you're not having to like overplay a Bouchard or whatever. So I don't even view that as a problem. And when you look at the guys who are options, like I don't mind Gustav Lindstrom as like a little scratch ticket kind of ad, but again, just give the opportunities to the guys you've signed to contracts already. And I don't see a reason to sign Tyson Barrie, because if he's not working on a power play, that's a big hit to the value he can bring you. And again, they went out and replaced him on the blue line a couple of years ago, and he's not getting any younger. And same thing with Justin Schultz. Like, do I think Justin Schultz could come in and give you fine results on a 1-year deal? Yeah, I guess. But again, it's not like I think the guys they have can give you just fine results if that's what you're looking for. So I don't see any of those PTO options with enough upside to be worth taking a shot on and be worth using up a roster spot on.
Yeah, I would agree. What about, we had this question, and I like the outside the box thinking. Hey guys, Kevin Woodley's talked about how Lankinen is his breakout goaltender. If you could sign him for $1 million and it meant Picker goes to the minors, would you do it?
I wouldn't, because I think maybe this is wrong. And I read, our guy Steven Ellis had his daily face-off prospect pool rankings, and he didn't list Olivier Rodrigue as one of the prospects to watch for the Oilers. But as my co-host on Oilers Nation Every Day today, Liam Horban, pointed out, like, it's a guy who finished top 10 in save percentage last year in the American Hockey League. Like, that's no small feat. He's coming off a good year. You can trust Pickard to some extent. And if he were to falter, I don't have a big problem with going and giving Ollie Rodrigue a shot at some point. And again, if you do think, okay, you sign Lankinen, you push Pickard down to the minors, not that having depth is ever bad, but I don't want anything that could potentially hinder the development of Rodrigue, because again, as you get to a point where a couple of years from now, Stuart Skinner is going to be on a relatively big ticket, or at least an increase from the value deal he's on now, I think you might want a young option like Rodrigue who can come up and only be, $800,000-$900,000 or $1 million as a young goalie to backstop him for a bit. So I kind of like the three the Oilers have now. If there's an injury, then yeah, you obviously panic a little bit, but I don't know if I'm there on Lankinen. And also, if you're Lankinen and you're mulling over other offers, like if you're getting 1 year, $1 million from Edmonton and you go, okay, well, Stuart Skinner is the bona fide number one there, maybe you can shop around a little bit. Maybe you can look at a Columbus or something like that. Like, my point is, there might be another team who can offer you the same deal, and you can sit there and go, oh, I see a much more clear path to 30 plus games next season than I do in Edmonton, where I got to beat Calvin Pickard in camp just to make the NHL roster. Yeah, and no offense to Calvin Pickard. If Kevin Lankinen's recent numbers, Woodley has hit twice on his breakout goalies of the year the last two times in Ingram and Lindgren, and so the fact that he has Lankinen is really appealing to me. And you could look and say, hey, you know what? We think we can upgrade at a position that if it's not going to cost us very much, you do it, and then. And I know you mentioned, hey, Olivier Rodrigue. Well, then Pickard goes on waivers and maybe someone claims him anyway on waivers, right? So they look and say, hey, there's our cheap option, because some teams are doing that. So it would be an interesting one to see if they would ever consider it. I'm with you. They probably wouldn't, but I'd like the outside of the box thinking, because, hey, if you can upgrade it at a position where it's not going to cost you very much, I would definitely consider it. So we'll see what happens. Ty, have yourself a great day. Practice up your swing, and we'll see you on Friday. I just quickly wanted to plug as well. I know you're doing the auction, but I was told today when I was at the Oilers Nation offices that there are 3 more, we call them mosaic spots in the tournament. So it's just solo. So there's 3 more left on nationgear.ca. So if people are listening to this and they're like, I'm not doing anything Friday, I want to support Gregor's Grads, come play some golf, there's 3 spots. So you and a friend could buy 2 of them. We'll pair you guys up with 2 other Nation citizens and Oilers fans, and you'll go have a great day. We've done this in the past where solos can sign up. And there's actually been groups who were paired up as a random group of 4, and they've come back and played together as a group in multiple years. So if you still want to get in, nationgear.ca, there are some last-minute spots available. All right. I love it. So there you go. We have the last foursome, and we have a few spots left. We can tell you how to get in once we get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. Stop in. The watermelon wave is here. And have you tried I did not know this, but spinach is in it, Cons. This is the Declan Kruger special, which I learned earlier today. Big fan of spinach.
Trying to become the Popeye of the station. You might want to try it. Only at Booster Juice.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin announcing today that 9-time Pro Bowler Russell Wilson will begin the season as the team's starting quarterback, putting an end to the quarterback competition with Justin Fields. Tomlin said it was a difficult decision, but not difficult in a negative way. The decision was difficult because of what they're both capable of doing. The Dallas Cowboys and running back Dalvin Cook agreeing to a contract today. He'll join a crowded running back room with some questions. Cook started last season with the New York Jets before spending some time with Baltimore in the playoffs. From the CFL, Sean Lemon will not be returning to the Montreal Alouettes lineup anytime soon, as the league announced that an independent arbitrator had upheld its indefinite suspension of the defensive lineman for sports betting. The arbitrator's decision is binding and could spell the end of Lemon's 13-year career in the CFL. From the NHL, Laurent Brossoit's debut with the Chicago Blackhawks might have to wait, as it was announced today that the 31-year-old goaltender underwent meniscus surgery on his right knee and will be out 5 to 7 weeks. The Hawks open up their regular season on October 8th in Utah. Major League Baseball today, the Jays in action. They'll take on the Red Sox just after 5 o'clock. Right now, the Astros up on the Phillies 1-0 in the fourth. Heading into the fourth in Seattle, Mariners and Rays are tied at 1 apiece. Later today, you'll have the Rangers and the White Sox making up their game from yesterday. And they'll also meet again just after 6 o'clock to play 2 games in total. Also, Marlins, Rockies, Mets, Diamondbacks, and the Dodgers hosting the Orioles in the WNBA tonight. 5 games. Caitlin Clark hosting, and the Beaver hosting the Sun at 5. Also, Mystics take on the Sky. Sparks host the Liberty. The Lynx in Phoenix and the Storm taking on the Dream. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, it's another edition of Who Is It Wednesday. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Honk your home for Papa John's newest deal. It's one big deal for one big pizza. An extra large New York style one topping pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's original fresh, never frozen dough. Hand stretched thinner to make 8 extra large slices with your favorite mouth-watering toppings. So hold and fold that slice like a New Yorker. Bigger is better when it comes to pizza. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get some extra large New York style one topping pizza for only $17.99 at Papa John's.
Rule number 62. Never miss a free pancake breakfast. It's unheard of and frankly a little upsetting. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Elevate your home's curb appeal effortlessly with House Numbers Canada, locally owned and operated right here in Edmonton. Their state-of-the-art modern house numbers and address signs are the perfect solution for a quick and stylish upgrade. Multiple size and color options, stock items, custom designs, and the always popular LED illuminated numbers. Quality guaranteed or your money back. So what are you waiting for? Give your home the modern upgrade it deserves. Explore House Numbers Canada's exclusive collection at housenumberscanada.ca.
Bacon or sausage and egg McMuffin? It's a delicious dilemma. But what if you didn't have to choose? The Mighty McMuffin is back with bacon and sausage. Mighty McMuffin, mighty impressive. For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada.
The Brick's famous tent sale is back in town. Find up to 60% off clearance items. And check out fantastic deals in every department. Like up to 30% off sofas and up to 50% off mattresses. Visit the Brick while the tent is up and the prices are down. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
They say at any given moment, only 7% of people are looking for a car. And that 7% notices advertising for cars. Everyone else, 93%, doesn't even hear it. So this ad is just for the 93% who aren't going to really notice any car ads right now anyway. Hey, it's Scott here from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. And I hope you, yes, you, the person listening right now, I hope you have a great day. Anyway, that's it. I'm done.
Wednesday afternoon on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Those of you watching live on Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. We love it. Downloading the app if you're driving around. I know that many of you who are on the road go all out of the province, across Canada. You love the app because you can listen in all the time wherever you're at. It's crystal clear. So thank you for that. Thanks as always for listening. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And we got another mic, so we only got 4 spots left, inching closer. I love it. If you want to golf on Friday and the weather's going to look great, this could be a steal of a deal if you've ever played in a foursome, because we're doing we got the 12 entries, and then everybody goes in the draw, and one person wins, and you get the foursome for your $100 donation. That's it. It's a pretty sweet deal. All the money goes to the Gregor Foundation, and then you'll be teaming up. You find 3 buddies who want to play with you. It's $25 each. That's even better deal. So we got 4 spots left. If you want in, 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. It's time now for our Who Is It Wednesday guest. And our next guest, this actually, he is the first guest in studio from his birthplace here in Alberta. He was the first overall pick. He's also been a Grey Cup champion. He played junior football locally, played for the U of A Golden Bears, played for the Edmonton Eskimos after being drafted by the Hamilton Tiger Cats from Westlock, Alberta. Simeon Rotier joins us. Sim, how you doing, my man?
I'm good. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Look at that mustache you got going right now, eh?
Yeah, you know, it was a long summer, working on the farm, and I woke up one day, I was shaving, and then I was just thinking, man, how does a guy get some respect around here? And then I stopped right at the mustache, and I thought, I think that's it. So yeah, it just kept her going. It's kind of my harvest mustache, and yeah, it was good.
Oh, I love it. That is fantastic. Like, honestly, you somehow, with the stash in your hair, you might look younger now than when you retired.
Yeah. Well, if I shave it off, then I look like I'm still in high school.
Yeah,
So
you got like that real baby face going on over there. What, like, farming must be working really well for you. You got some like special cream product that you're using?
You know, my wife, she sells some clean beauty products, so we're gonna put a plug in for her. But yeah, I mean, well, you know, farming, it has its ups and downs.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's about as stressful as playing football, but no, it actually started off first couple years after I retired. We had some pretty wet years, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then had a couple good years, and yeah, we're still going. So pretty thankful to be still doing it.
So I want to, because I remember you and I met originally when you were a member of the Edmonton Huskies way back when. And I've told this story many times, but never on Sports 1440. So the Huskies used to have a kind of a tradition where when you went on your first road trip on the bus, because the road trip roster was only 40 players. So some guys would play home games as rookies, or at least get to dress because it was a 60-man roster. But on the road trip, you wouldn't go. And so it was kind of a big deal to get on your first road trip. It's kind of like, hey, I think I've made it now. Mm-hmm. And so you had to get up at the front of the bus, and it was like a fun little thing. You had to say your name, where you went to high school, shoe size, whatever, and then tell a joke. And then there was like, tell a joke and then tell a story. And I remember being at Huskies practice, I'd been on the bus lots. And I honestly, at that point, I think Simeon Rotier might have said 3 words ever. Like, pretty quiet young guy.
Yeah.
And then you get up and you have this story and joke that's like 5 minutes, no pauses. It's intertwining. And when it's over, like, usually if you get booed, you have to go in the back. And people were like, oh my God, I'm cheering. Like, I was like, where the hell did that come from? And was that kind of like your wow moment to junior football? Like, do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, well, first of all, I guess, I hadn't played football before junior.
Yeah.
So it was all pretty brand new. So my first trip was my 3rd year in. So I had a lot of time to prepare for it.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So, but at that year, I remember before that year, I remember talking to my mom because I was sitting on the bench. I was trying to play tight end. And luckily they ran a tight end system because I don't think too many other teams did. I was 210 pounds and, it was like trying to find my place. And that year I was like, I don't know if it doesn't work this year, it's probably not happening. Right. And they're like, you're better at blocking than you are at like catching. I was a pretty good catcher. I wasn't as a receiver. I think I caught 2 passes in games and then, but really, my bread and butter was blocking. And so once I made the switch, it was going well. And then, of course, an injury happened and I get in there and I just started going and I didn't even realize I was doing well until we started, you started going and they were like, yeah, I think you got something, you might have something here. And I'm like 220 pounds. And then that year not just because of me, we had a great team and we had J.R. LaRose, Iannuzzi.
Marco Iannuzzi, unbelievable kicker returner. Mark McBrien, Kelly McBrien.
Jason Bobes.
Bobes was your Cooper. Yeah. Cooper played in the CFL on the D line.
Yeah. Krasinski, he played in the CFL for the Eskimos for a bit. And so I feel like I got into a good situation and just kind of ran with it. And we won that year and we hadn't won in 40 years. And then we won again the next year. And that was my intro to football. And I'm pretty thankful that I joined that team when I did and got to know, it was we have an annual banquet, whatever, get guys together and they have a little Hall of Fame going and that's a big group that comes back from that year. That's pretty tight still. And it's a great time.
When you win, it's just a different feeling, right? It's like, I'm sure with your 2015, S team, when you guys won, it's just, I saw you and Mike Riley at the 75th year anniversary and lots of the other guys there. There's just a different bond that's built when you win, you battle hard. And not that when you don't win, you're not still friends, but there's just something different about it. So what got you into football though? Because you didn't play until you were 18 years of age to even try it?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, so, I grew up, I loved sports. Like I played everything I could. In our area in Westlock, volleyball was probably the biggest sport, and then basketball, and so going into high school, I was all gung ho for that, and so I think, when I look back though, I always loved football and always I wish we could have played, and so it was never really something I thought as something that would ever happen, but back in, so 96, I was in grade 6. I went to a family reunion and my mom's cousin is Tim Princeton.
Yeah. And
so he played, he was a longtime Eskimo and actually he got drafted to Hamilton too. Yeah. Similar story to me. I remember my mom was like, well, you should meet this guy. And so I go up and I'm terrified because he's 6'4" and 300 well, I don't want to say he was too big, but he over 300 pounds. And, I think he probably had a mullet and sweet mustache too. But so I go up and my mom's like, hey, Sim kind of likes football. And he's like, oh, you like crushing skulls? And I was like, well, get it, sir. And so
That sounds like Tim.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I get to the end of high school, and I just remember for sure in basketball, I was fouling out of games all the time. And, we had good teams, but I was like, I just want more. I always wanted to try it. And so I gave Tim a call out of the blue. It's not like we ever hung out, outside of I've met him one time at that point. But my mom's just like, yeah, he's a nice guy. Give him a call. And he got me set up, to go try out for the winter workouts. Well, they had, the Huskies, they run winter workouts, I think January, February. It was like Sunday night, 9:00 at the Kinsman Fieldhouse. And so we're in the middle of winter, and I'm like, well, I'm going to go get as many big guys that I think could maybe play football that I can, because I don't want to go by myself. And my dad, we had a big Chevy van at the time.
Okay.
And we make the drive down Sunday nights, 9:00 to go to these football practices where no one that's with me has ever played football before, other than in gym class.
Sure.
Right. But yeah, I got in there, and it's funny because my mom would perm my hair for basketball season every year. So I had this huge fro, and it's funny because I have super straight hair.
Yes.
So she'd have to perm it like 3 times to get it to be a fro. And I thought, oh, this is going to be sweet. But that was the first time guys had met me, as I had a fro. And so I get in there, and I'm like, they're like, well, try Matt. Yeah, they had one other tight end. So thankfully, yeah, I was like kind of fit that bill. And I made a few catches, and I'm learning a few things. And they're like, well, come out to spring camp, right? And so, yeah, I get to spring camp, and they give me pads, and I'm like, I'm the last one in the locker room, and I'm like, someone comes in. I think it was Mike Astley, one of the guys on the board, and he's like, what's up? And I'm like, I have no idea. Like, where does this pad go? I'm like, I got the tail pad on my front I was like, is this to protect my junk here or what? And so I didn't know how to put my pads on, and I get out there, and it was just a steep learning curve. But thankfully they saw just a little bit of potential and brought me along. And, when I made the switch to O-line, then I guess kind of the rest is history. I started putting on weight, learned how to do that in a good way, and had lots of advice on how to do it the wrong way. Of course, I remember one coach was like, yeah, just drink 4 liters of chocolate milk every day, and then they'll put the size on, or the famous one was it might've been Bruce Beaton. I thought I was talking to Tim. He's like, yeah, go on the Snickers diet. Just get a big box of Snickers from Costco, and every time you walk by the box, eat a Snickers bar, kind of thing, right? And so, anyways, I started at 210. I think by the time I got out of Huskies, I was still only 240, and I get picked up. I had a couple all-star years. Ended up, Tim was just retiring. Princeton was going to the U of A at the time.
Yeah, with Chris
coach.
Morris.
Yeah, actually Friesen.
Okay, Jerry
Yep,
Friesen.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I was got in the recruiting process there, and ended up, a lot of my buddies were going to Manitoba, but I ended up staying and working with Tim. And I think I just, pretty thankful, to get that kind of coaching. He would bring out Morris sometimes to help out. I trained with Dan Comiskey a little bit.
Oh, wow.
They just kind of took me under their wing once I caught on to it and made the switch. And I just kind of kept working, putting on weight, avoided diabetes, not eating too many Snickers. And, it's funny because we grew up on, we had a dairy farm for a while. And so I never thought, I loved milk. I didn't think I'd ever get where I would hate milk so much as when I tried to drink 4 liters of chocolate milk every day.
Can't believe that. Which coach told you that?
You know who that was?
Was that Was?
No, that was oh yeah, it was. It was actually, I went to a spring camp in Manitoba when I was trying to figure out where I wanted to go for university. And I'm trying to remember the guy's name, their O-line coach. He played for the Bombers for a bit. And then he moonlighted as a like if wrestling would come in, he'd go like do the Stampede wrestling on the side.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what his name is.
We'll have to look that up.
Yeah. And I think he fought some like the I shouldn't say for sure. I thought he's fought some bigger guys like Iron Sheik or something like that.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah, he also like was trying to incorporate like some sort of kung fu into O-line, which was fun. And then I don't know, it was a bit of a journey, right? But some really good coaches along the way. Couldn't have done it without that, you know. And obviously great teammates. And yeah, it's just you know, I get to university. I think I'm 3 years in, and like I really didn't have a clue that I was going to the CFL. You know, my goal when I got into it though was to take it as far as I could. I think it was just at that kind of age where, you know, I guess it was like I want to take something and like finish it. You know what I mean? Okay. I'm going to go until someone says stop. And so yeah, it was a wild ride, which, you know, almost ended a couple times, but before it even started. But yeah, then away we go, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh yeah, they're gonna pick you high." I think, you know, like you're gonna go in the draft pretty high, and then before you know it, I'm going to Hamilton and
first overall.
Yeah, so that was pretty exciting. And that spring, or let's see, now in November of 2008, then football season was over. We didn't have a great team. We missed the playoffs at the U of A 3 years in a row. Like I think I just missed some of the good years there with Friesen. But you know, that was kind of interesting too, because I think that's when I knew I wanted to play, because, you know, it's easy to want it when you're winning, or like, oh, this is great. And then if you can still like, you get up and you still have that drive when you're losing, you know, I think that reiterated to me, like, I'm going to take this as far as I can go. Right. And so that November ended up proposing. We get my wife now at the time we're dating, and it's like, well, we've been dating a year. Like, it sounds like you're getting drafted somewhere. Like, I should come with you. So it was kind of like this a little slight encouragement. And yeah, it was like, okay, so November.
That was her big hint that you better propose.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, she's a great planner. She thinks ahead on everything. And I'm like going day to day here, and I'm like, you know what, you're right. And so we got married April 18th, and then let's see, I think the next day I had my phone on just because there was like some interest in the NFL draft. There was, you know, I had a couple calls and never heard from anybody, but I did. Funny enough, I can't remember if I told you this, but I think that I'm trying to remember when the East-West Shrine game was in Houston.
Yes,
but I went to that.
Yeah,
and like when I think 2 years after I came back to Edmonton, like 2013 or 14, we were looking at the picture, and I was like, of the whole team, and 10 players away was Mike Riley. We were in the Shrine. We were in the Shrine game together.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that was pretty wild. But yeah, so I mean, I went to Hamilton, you know, training camp. My wife Jen, she joined me after camp, and yeah, we had three pretty good years. Like, you know, when you first start out, you're like, oh man, how do you look at guys who are playing like 10, 11 years, like, how do you do that? Right. And then you kind of get in a groove, you find out what works, kind of get established, you know, and then it's like, this is a pretty good gig. Right. And And so, yeah, my third year, it was actually hard leaving Hamilton, but we just had our first son born in Burlington, Ontario. And so that was, I guess that was 2011. And the plan was kind of always to come back to Edmonton, but I just remember that was still a tough decision because I had my best year in my third year in Hamilton. It was like I kind of hit my stride, and it was tough leaving that team, I would say. But great coming home, right? And you have a kid, and good to be around family, and so I guess that's it. We came home 2012. Unfortunately, that year Ricky Ray goes out to Toronto. And
you must have chirped Grant Shaw about that. Yeah, he never lived up to that trade, did you?
Oh man, Grant. Yeah, no, it's a tough one for him. And we played Huskies together, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So a good guy. But yeah, anyways, it was tough that year. It's like, okay, everything's coming together. So Tim was coaching on the O-line again. He joined the staff in 2011 for the Eskimos, Princeton. And then my buddy Gord Hines gets drafted to Edmonton, and it's like we're getting the gang back together, right? So 2012, it all looks good. And then I hurt my foot like a month before training camp, just training, and I'm like, I'm going in for treatments.
Like, what did you do? How did you hurt your foot training?
Yeah, so I had some old shoes that like some what are those, like turf shoes.
Okay.
And we're doing some crazy sprint whatever training that maybe old linemen shouldn't be doing. and I don't know, like I had an old foot injury from when I was a kid dirt biking.
Okay.
And it flared up and it like never went away the whole camp. And it was just this weird thing where I was like, oh man, I just felt like I wasn't starting on the right foot. And then, of course, I think it was day 3 or 4, Almondo Sewell shows up.
Oh, yeah.
And he had got cut, I think, the year before from the Eskimos. And then he came fresh out of the Arena League. He was like in game shape. And then I really don't remember the rest of camp because he just like bull rushed me and like probably ate my lunch the rest of the camp. And I was like, I came in as like I was going to be the guy on the O-line and was instantly humbled. And it took me probably a few games to get my stride again and my foot to, I just, whatever. I got my confidence back. And then all of a sudden we're starting to roll. And then Khalif Mitchell, the whole Khalif Mitchell thing happened. And, it took 4 or 5 weeks to get out of that, like to recover from wrecking my arm. And then the rest of the year, it actually probably took me a year to get my confidence back after that. And I think 2013 was like a real low where, I think we lost 9 in a row that year, by like 3 or less points. That was Mike's first year. Right. We were just like so close. Actually, that seems similar to the Elks right now. Like when they were 0-7, there's so many games they could have, it could have went either way, right? And it wasn't till I got benched for Labor Day where I was like, that was probably the low. But then it was like, okay, you have to like let it go where you're like, I'm trying too hard, or I'm like, if you use a hockey term, I'm squeezing the stick a little too much. If I get a chance to go back in, like at that point, I thought, maybe my career's over. But if I get a chance to go back in, I'm just gonna let it all hang out, kind of thing, and just give her. And then, and that's kind of how it worked. Like I came back in, we won a couple games. I started playing better. The next year, new coaching staff, Chris Jones comes in, and I think he came in just at the right time where, whoever survived that 2013 year, like the core that survived that, we're like, we're not letting that happen again. And you get kind of a fresh wind in your sails, like from a new coach. And I remember Chris Jones talking to me, and I know he's polarizing because he just left town, probably trying to do too much, being a GM head coach in DC. Yeah, right. But still, for me at that time, I remember he came up to me at the beginning of camp and was like, Sam, you're a good football player. You just got to go play, man. Like, just go. And that's probably the biggest advice, like, throughout my career, was at some point if you're thinking too much, just go and play football, right? And go let all the training do what it's supposed to do, and let the chips fall where they may. And so, yeah, that was, then all of a sudden it went from, getting benched to 2013, then 2014 was an all-star year for me. And except then I tore my ACL that year, and at the end, and just kind of missed out on, I'm trying to remember when we probably lost to Calgary in the playoffs, so, then you get 2015.
Now, hey, we got to pause you there because I want to talk about the Grey Cup here.
Yeah.
When we come back, we're going to take a quick break. Simeon Rotier is our guest today on Who Is It Wednesday. Never played football in his life till he was 18 years of age. Didn't really get into a road game for the Huskies until his third season. Then ended up going to the U of A. A few years later, he's the first overall pick in the CFL draft. Goes to Hamilton and then signs with his hometown Elks in 2013, becomes an all-star in 2014. And then when we come back, we'll talk about, of course, the last championship for the Green and Gold, 2015, here on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Hey, it's Brad McCory here from St. Albert Dodge. Our August month-end blowout is now on. So until Saturday, August 31st, we won't say no to any deal. And here's what we have to offer. 20% off new 2024 Ram 1500s, no payments for 90 days on selected vehicles, and how's this? A brand new Jeep Compass 4x4 for only $37,000. If you're looking for a new vehicle, don't buy until you talk to us. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
The only thing as hot as the weather this summer is a night out at On the Rocks. Every weekend, enjoy live music and top DJs spinning your favorite tracks. The dance floor is the place to be. Celebrating a birthday or stagette? Let OTR take the work out of the planning for you. Book your party online at ontherocksedmonton.com. Join OTR every evening from 4 p.m. for a great atmosphere and good company. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Grab your Good Vibe Drive and head to On the Rocks, corner of Jasper Ave and 118th Street.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk. Elevate your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
You turn on the tap and water comes out. You press the handle and flush the toilet. Living in our modern world, we sometimes take for granted or don't even think about all of the services and conveniences that are around us every day. But GS Construction does. Right under your feet, there's a whole network of underground infrastructure that needs to be built and maintained in order to have these basic services. GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community for 50 years. Find out more by going to gsconstruction.ca.
The Charm Offensive with Jim Jeffries.
Every generation before you has also been the most progressive generation.
And Jimmy Carr.
I don't know how to explain this to you. I'm not that small, I'm just far away.
One night, two comedy icons. September 8th, Rogers Place. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.ca. The Charm Offensive with Jim Jeffries and Jimmy Carr. Produced by Outback Presents.
For over 65 years, Denham Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And when it comes to value, nothing beats an employee price. For a limited time, pay what Ford employees paid during the factory-authorized employee pricing event. You'll see real invoice pricing, and you know you'll get the best deal guaranteed. It's Ford employee pricing on for a limited time where cars always cost less. Denham Ford in Wetaskiwin or at denhamford.ca.
Cars cost less in Wetaskiwin.
Whiskey bottle, brand new car. Oak tree, you're in my way. There's too much coke and too much smoke. Look what's going on inside you.
3:30 Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. Our guest today on Who Is It Wednesday, of course, CFL champion, is an all-star, former number 1 overall pick in the CFL draft, former member of the Golden Bears, as well as the Edmonton Huskies, where he won 2 national championships with the Huskies back-to-back in 2004 and 2005. A guy who found his calling card a little bit later in life. Had never played football until not even in high school. Played football afterwards as kind of just a walk-on, trying out for the Huskies. Didn't even know how to put on his equipment properly the first time. But it turns out, Sim, that whoever helped you, had a lot of people help you along the way, and kind of a lot of hard work. And do you feel like you mentioned your mother and how she, just call Tim. What about your parents and your dad? Obviously, they were willing to kind of, say, well, let's go try it. We'll drive in from Westlock to the Edmonton Kinsman on a Sunday night at 9:00 when you're 18. Like most parents be like, dude, like driving yourself, or this is kind of a dumb idea. But your parents were like, okay, let's try it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the thing. Like I look at my parents and they were like, that's where I learned how to work hard, actually, really.
Farm.
And
100%.
right. And it was all in the whole community. And they're still, they're still consistent. Like breakfast is at 7 a.m. every day. And, well, of course, with the dairy, it was, milking cows at 4:30 or 5 in the morning every morning. But and that's the thing. Like I never felt like, we had to, it was all about the farm. I mean, it kind of was, but it was also like they let us spread our wings a little bit and gave us lots of opportunities to try all kinds of different things. Like we were big into music as a family. And sports was huge for us, and they would come to all our games. And my grandparents would come to a lot of games. Although my Opa, it was like farming or nothing for him. Yeah, he came over
Different
from
generation.
Yeah, right. And came over from Holland, and that was his dream. And so I remember, actually, I just was talking to my mom about this, but he was like, "Why letting the kids do all these other things?" And she was like, "Yeah, but your dream was farming. Like, we don't know what their dream is, right? And so we got to let them find their way." And so, yeah, they were just such a huge support. And I came back to the farm and I'm so thankful because I get to work with my parents still. They have a little side business that they do, with like a sandblasting paint shop that they run. And that's their main thing. And, I borrow my dad to help with harvest here, and stuff like that. But yeah, I get to go in anytime I can. I go for breakfast with them, and the support there, and just the example of how to, really to be professional, in what you do. That all came from them to start with, right? And then, tons of other good examples along the way, of course.
So we go through your career, and you're in Hamilton. You mentioned your third year was your best year, and then you come to Edmonton, and obviously the first year didn't go as you wanted. You end up being benched for the Labor Day game, and but then you bounce back. You're an All-Star in 2014, and then the 2015 year comes around, and now it's Riley's third year. You add a few other players, and second year of Chris Jones. The 2015 year obviously ended very well, but it wasn't like a smooth sailing year either. Like there's very smooth sailing, because was the Ed Hervey 2015 when he called you out, or was that 2014?
So that was actually 2013. That's when I got benched for the Labor Day. Now,
did you expect that?
I had no idea. I remember I was getting texts from some news people that had my number. I can't remember who it was first. That's how I found out.
Vicky Hall, maybe.
Yeah, probably. And I just woke up and I was getting these texts like, what do you think about this? And I didn't even watch it. I don't think I actually ever did watch it. But yeah, it was a weird, that season was just weird anyways, because there was all kinds of drama going on in the locker room. Not so much, like I would say as players, we were pretty tight. But there were some things going on with coaches that weren't real great. And
in 13.
Okay. So that was Cavis.
So that was the Cavis Reed year. Ooh,
yeah, right. And and our O-line coach was Chris Sweet that year. And I think it went, they were. So yeah, unfortunately, Tim Princeton was let go in 2012, and I think they thought, oh, he's too much of a player's coach or something, right? And so they bring in someone who's like real, wanted to be hard on us, right? And I think we're all for that, and it's all good. It's if you're winning, and then all of a sudden, if you're just if you can't even communicate with your coach and we're losing, like there's just a whole lot of things blew up and that's where I'm saying, like, I think I remember especially as an O-line unit, but even like the core group was like all this whatever extra stuff, it all brings us tighter. And it did. It was, I think I remember Labor Day. So we go to Calgary, we give up 7 sacks. Then that whole drama happened. I get benched. The next game, it's like, well, okay, at home, gave up another 7 sacks. Right? They threw this rookie O-lineman in from I think he was from the States, and he had been in the CFL for a week or two, and expected him to know what he was doing, and he barely knew the plays. So it's like, well, what do you expect, right? And so obviously I wasn't the problem. I think for me, I remember that time though, I still felt bad. Like my response was, yeah, this year is not going how we want, and it's not going how I want. This is not my standard of how I would want to play either. And we all want more. And, but it's so funny how, it's so much of it was between the ears for me. And, I think I talked to you about this at the gala, the 75th anniversary gala, but 2013, I remember going to games where, and this is where my confidence was at. Like we went to Hamilton, and I remember phoning my wife once before the game, and I was like, I want to be as far away from this stadium as possible. Like if there was a hole I could go jump into and just like escape the game, I was like not in a great head place to where it was just, things came off the rails for me a little bit mentally that year. And part of it was we were losing. Part of it was like I was supposed to be the guy, and on the O-line, or at least, part of the solution, right? I came in as a free agent and like the year before, and it was like it was supposed to be going a lot better than it was, right?
Yeah.
And like I guess getting benched, it was like, okay, well, I'm not completely part of the problem, and if I can get back to playing how I should be, I can be part of the solution. And if I can just, relax and play, then you just let it happen how it's going to happen. And so much is out of your control. And yeah, you just do what you can, right? I mean, that's a cliche for sure, but
no, and it works. I mean, Rotier joins us. So in that 2015 year, when you get into the playoffs and your team had been on a real roll, I think you won your last, I don't know what it was, 6 games, 5 games down the stretch. You get into the playoffs and you've been on teams because you had won, so to me, winning in junior isn't that much different of how you believe in yourself. Like obviously the talent level is different than the pros, but the belief in what you're doing as a team is kind of similar.
Yeah.
When you went into the playoffs that year, like, were you thinking we're going to win, or was it not till you're in the Grey Cup that you thought?
No, I think the way we were winning that year at the end of the year, it was, it's just funny how it was the exact opposite of the year of 2013, where you'd be neck and neck in every game. And somehow you had this feeling like, how are we going to lose this one?
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And then you go fast forward. It's just a maturity of the team, I think, as a whole. But I mean, it starts with every player. But 2015, we would often get behind in games, and there was no question that we were going to come back. And likely we always thought we were going to win, and mostly we did. And I mean, that even happened in the finals. We were down, I think, 2 scores early.
Yeah.
And I remember Sean White missed a field goal at one point, and he was like just kicking himself, and no pun intended. But yeah, then I remember going up to him like, hey, we're gonna come back. You're gonna get another chance. We're gonna win this thing. And after the game, he was like, thanks for saying that. I really didn't believe you at the time. But yeah, it was a special team. I mean, unreal defense. And we found, they always say you gotta peak at the right time, right? And I think we found our bread and butter as far as certain plays that we like to run with Mike. Some RPOs that were just like dynamite. That it was like, worst came to worst, he's going to run it and get a first down, but likely he's going to throw it for whatever touchdowns. And we had all that confidence. And yeah, it was pretty special, I think, because that was year 7. And, I played with a lot of guys, even Hamilton was a veteran O-line when I was there. And none of those guys got to play in a Grey Cup. And there was like 11, 12, 13-year vets that, never got to play in a Grey Cup. So even though it's a small league, you're not always going to get that chance. And yeah, even though I didn't get to personally play in it, unfortunately, in that Grey Cup, it was still like, it was special, right?
Because you got hurt in the semifinal?
It was
or the final.
It was actually the last game of the regular season.
Okay.
And I retweaked my knee, and I was coming back, and it was, I knew it wasn't like full on ACL again, but yeah, that was weird because I was training and trying to get back. I didn't know until the day before if I was going to play
in the Grey Cup.
Because they were like trying us out all week, and it was kind of, they wanted to see how we were doing, and gave everything I could, and they just at the last, it was like, we're going to go with Jonesy, and that was Andrew Jones, and I was happy for him because yeah, he's a heck of a player. So yeah, I was sad I got to miss that one, but at the same time, just completely elated that we got the job done and got the cup.
So when the Mike Riley factor, like there's certain leaders on the team, and football is kind of unique than other sports because there's the O-line group, and then there's the receiver group, and then you have your D-line, but there's offense and defense, and then there's a team, like there's a lot of little groups within it.
Yeah.
From the outside, Mike Riley was very confident, had a lot of swagger, confident in himself, but didn't take himself too serious, right? Yeah. We had karaoke contests, he'd enter in, and he was a fun guy. How was he in the room? And can you kind of talk about his evolution to become really like the leader in the face of your team?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think from day one, Mike had confidence. Like you could tell he was a leader, you know. And I remember when he came in, you know, he didn't have a lot of experience in games, but the few games I remember he beat us pretty bad the year before, like in maybe a kind of a nothing game. I'm trying to remember. It was at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But still it was like, oh, okay, this guy's like, he seems legit. And it was neck and neck who was going to be the starter between him and Matt Nichols that year in 2013. And then unfortunately for Matt, he got injured. I think he had an Achilles. And so Mike, I mean, probably the competition elevated him in training camp. And, you know, it was never, it was still like, I don't know, every game I always felt like we had a chance with Mike in, even when we were 0-9, you know, it was like, because, and that was it. We were neck and neck. I don't think we lost in that 0-9 start. We never lost by more than 3 points, you know, and you could tell it was there. And, you know, you don't want to point fingers at anybody, but it was, you know, I think a lot of it, you realize how much coaching made a difference.
Oh yeah.
The next year. Right. And all of a sudden he takes off and yeah, I mean, I think what you saw outside of the locker room, it's like, that was Mike, you know, he was the same guy, consistent, worked harder than or worked as hard. Like we had a lot of guys who like stepped up there. Everyone was working hard, but he was no exception. And, you know, the only thing I remember when we were, he was injured for a little bit when I was like still recovering from ACL. He was probably the most sour injured guy, like just the biggest baby. And, but it was like, it tells you how competitive he was, right? He was like, he did not want to be doing whatever we were doing on the paddy wagon or whatever. And, but yeah, like, and
did you juice him lots?
Oh yeah. Well, there was, I was usually trying to make him smile, but man, those were hard to come by when he was hurt. But no, he was like, what a great dude. And you know, they had kids, you know, started a family like in Edmonton. And, you know, we were at that time, I was one of the few that had kids too. So like our wives connected pretty well. And anyways, so good. Yeah. Always got a lot of time for Mike. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's one of the more likable guys for sure. Not only amongst his teammates, fans who are fans of the Elks. Then, you know, Mike Riley's a guy that, you know what, he was a quarterback who like he was not afraid to take a beating and never pointed a finger, never complained to guys. And like, you know, and always, you always found, as the more I understood football, was the old lineman doesn't get a lot of praise, but if you don't have a good line, you don't have no chance. It's like you need a great quarterback to win, but you need a really good old line because your quarterback can't show what he has if he's running for his life all the time. And the good quarterbacks understand how important the old line is, and then they make sure to take care of them. Was he that, like, did he take you guys for dinners?
Yeah, he took us for dinners. You know, I think some of the old line thought he should take us out more for dinners, but no, I mean, he was always great. Like for sure, we'd go for a big meal once a year, and I think, you know, as far, we also thought maybe he held on to the ball a little too long sometimes. But the thing is, he would go out, he'd take a beating holding on to the ball and then make the play, right? So, you know, like you got to respect that, and you know, sometimes it was like when people were like, "Oh, he's the toughest." Then as an O-line, you're like, "Oh, does that mean we're not doing a good job here?" Or like he's just taking beatings all day? But no, he never complained. He never pointed fingers at us. He was he was a class act for sure.
Simeon Rotier joins us. When we return, we'll talk about the transition from post-career and to now coming full circle and getting into coaching next on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, and Facebook.
For 41, never challenge a goose in the Bow Valley. They run this town and they know it. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough.
Well,
bonus terms and conditions
I'm not
apply.
completely part of the
Green and gold, Simeon Rotier joins us from the 2015 Grey Cup champions. Of course, U of A Golden Bear, Edmonton Husky, two-time champion with the Huskies, was the number overall pick in the CFL coming out of the U of A. So quite the career. And now you're in the coaching ranks, Sim, and I've had a few people texting in to say, don't let Simeon get away without saying how much he's given back to the Westlock RF Staples High School football team over the years. So that comes in from John. And what have you been doing out in Westlock with the football guys?
Well, yeah, and that's actually more a credit to my parents who they started a scholarship there. They were getting kids out to to like a Bears camp or something like that.
Okay.
They pay for an up and coming kid to go do that.
Nice.
And yeah, I tried to get out there whenever I could. It's been a couple years now because I'm coaching my kids in Spruce Grove.
Okay.
But yeah, I would go out and help coach when I could, and on my commute or whatever. And no, I mean, they were doing great things out there. They really, it was fun. It was fun to watch my hometown. Like, and I loved all the other sports too. But like they made a production out of their Friday night under the lights football kind of thing
In Westlock?
in Westlock.
Okay.
Yeah, once they started going, so they took it pretty serious. It was great.
Well, I you know what? We fitted quite a few of the kids for Gregor Foundation from RF Staples in Westlock. A few
Okay.
kids every year. And when they come in there, man, there's farm kids and there's some, like, I look at these guys and like, geez, got to get some 48s and 50s. Like there's a big kids
Yeah.
in there. So some natural O linemen, I would think, potentially
For sure.
coming out of Westlock. Now you mentioned you're coaching in Spruce Grove.
Yeah, that's right. Like my oldest son is actually, he's helping coach a little bit, and then he's 13 now, and my next oldest son, he's playing. He just moved up to U13, which is Pee Wee.
Okay. In football.
In football. So yeah, he's playing middle linebacker on our team, and yeah, I'm coaching more on the offense on the O line. I was going to say it's better if someone else tells him what to do. He doesn't want to listen to me, but he's pretty good. He's pretty coachable. So
Yeah.
But no, it's a great group of coaches out there and a good program, and I'm happy to be part of it. I'm learning lots. I guess the funny thing about starting late and then going in as an O lineman, it's not like no one ever taught me how to tackle. I remember one time, I think we missed a field goal, and I just like tried to goalie. I tripped somebody. I called for tripping. I was, I don't know what I'm doing. And then, so I think I got lots to learn on probably the defensive side. But I got my little niche with the O-line and trying to expand my my coaching repertoire to help. Part of it's just, being an athlete, helping athletes become better athletes, and what works for one group, it's good for them all, right? At this age, for sure.
So does your middle son, does he have that screw loose mentality to be a linebacker?
Well, this is the thing. He's probably one of the nicest kids. And so, you watch him, but he's still, you get him on the football field,
And then
it's just like
switch goes.
Yeah. And he's tall and like long arms. He's so rangy that he just it's fun to watch, and so yeah, it's cool to see like the next generation coming up, right?
So as a member of the Green and Gold, and they just had the sale and everything like that, and it's obviously been a tough start. How close do you monitor the Elks?
Well, yeah, it's funny. Like I remember, so when I talked to Mike at that gala,
Yeah.
that 75th, and I think he was saying how he really hadn't been in touch with football, right?
He was out of football for a while. He told me, yeah.
And I think, the more guys I talk to, it's the same thing. Like when you're done, you just need a break. And for me, I didn't get much of a break because my kids just sucked me right back into it. And so they're best friends. We go to games together. Kevin Fritz Tiny Homes. I do a little bit of work with him on the side. We build trailers for their tiny homes.
Okay.
And yeah, they got 4 kids. We got 3. We go to a lot of the home games. So yeah, we've been through the last few years, been pretty tough. But at the same time, watching the kids go, like, it's a blast. That's something we rarely went to games. I was only ever listening driving the silage truck, in the summer, listening to Halsey and Farley call games back in the day. So it's fun watching the kids grow up going in the Knothole gang. And then, we got the alumni room there to go in and meet some of the legends that come through sometimes. Right.
How do your kids, hey, dad is played there for many years, #1 pick and, Grey
Right.
Cup champion. Is dad cool because of that? Or are they like, Dad, you didn't play?
Yeah. No, they're like, why aren't you still playing? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, we want to watch you play now. And they don't know that.
There's never any temptation or like, hey, I'd get out there one more time.
I think I always said this is getting like it's further and further from the truth. I always thought I got one good game left, maybe, and then probably my knees would explode. But it's like, yeah, I don't think they need me out there. That's for sure. Yeah. So
And Sim, so what are you farming now?
yeah, so we got about 1,000 acres. We got canola, wheat, barley, kind of on rotation. Maybe throw some peas in. It's good timing right now. We're just waiting for harvest. So yeah, that's kind of trying to get my mind off before you start trying to bring in like too tough a grain right now in the combine. For sure.
Now, do you have any animals, any cows, anything?
No. And that's the one thing about we live in Spruce Grove, and my wife's she grew up there. So yeah, we weren't planning to move out to the farm. It's about an hour away. And I guess the nice thing about grain farming is, yeah, you got some off season time, and you don't have to make that drive in the winter, which is nice. And yeah, I mean, it would be nice sometimes I think it would be nice to have cattle like the dairy was a good, consistent type of thing, where grain farming is so up and down.
No days off in dairy farming.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. So yeah, they don't milk themselves, I guess, I guess you got a robot system. But.
Yeah, man. Even then, it's still a constant. You got to be there all the time. So, Sam, man, it's always great. I love your story. For a lot of people, there's never any age limit on when you want to start being an athlete. Obviously, you played lots of other sports, but didn't get into football until you're 18, and really didn't get going until you're probably 20. 21 years of age, and obviously it turned out to have a heck of a career, and now you can help out and give back to the kids in Spruce Grove. It's always good to catch up with you, and it is amazing how somehow you're looking younger now than when you played.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate you having me on. So I'm glad we got to catch up at the gala.
Yeah, it was great.
It was good. I mean, when I started in junior, that's kind of, you were starting out too, right?
Yeah.
And it was fun that we got to start to grow up through this together. I love the show. Always been a huge fan of the show and sports radio. So it's actually like kind of an honor for me to be on here. So as a fan, you know what I mean? So yeah, just really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Always good talking to you.
Yeah, you too.
There you go. That's Simeon Rotier, a really great guy, really awesome guy, and had himself a heck of a career. Let's get to Connor Halley now, and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Don't get SWAS all September. Stay cool at legacyheating.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Steelers coach Mike Tomlin announcing today that 9-time Pro Bowler Russell Wilson will start out the season as the starting quarterback for the Steelers, putting an end to the quarterback competition with Justin Fields down in Dallas. The Cowboys and running back Dalvin Cook agreeing to a contract joins a crowded room with some questions. Cook spent last season with the New York Jets before being released for their final game. He appeared in one of Baltimore's 2 playoff games with the Ravens. Down in the CFL, Sean Lemon won't be returning to the Montreal Alouettes lineup anytime soon, as the league announced that its independent arbitrator had upheld its indefinite suspension of the defensive lineman for sports betting. Brett Brissois' debut with the Chicago Blackhawks may have to wait, as the team announced today that the 31-year-old goaltender underwent meniscus surgery on his right knee. He'll be out 5 to 7 weeks. The Blackhawks kick off the regular season October 8th in Utah. And some cool news here is Edmonton's very own Eric Zabrowski was recalled, or has received a call to the show as the Cleveland Guardians selected the contract of the left-handed reliever today. Zabrowski was drafted in the 14th round by the Padres back in 2018. On the diamond today, a couple finals for you. Guardians knocked off the Royals 7-5, and the Cubs getting past the Pirates in a thriller 14-10. The Jays will take on the Red Sox just about an hour away. Right now, Astros lead the Phillies 7-0, and the Rays trail the Mariners 5-2. That's in the top of the 7th. In the WNBA tonight, you got 5 games. Caitlin Clark and the Fever hosting the Connecticut Sun. Tip-off at 5. Followed by the Mystics in Chicago. Sparks host Liberty. Lynx take on the Mercury, and the Storm welcoming the Dream to Seattle. Coming up in Hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Tampa Bay Lightning beat reporter Eduardo Encina, and we'll ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Honk your home for Papa John's newest deal. It's one big deal for one big pizza. An extra large New York style one topping pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's original fresh, never frozen dough. Hand stretched thinner to make 8 extra large slices with your favorite mouth-watering toppings. So hold and fold that slice like a New Yorker. Bigger is better when it comes to pizza. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get some extra large New York style one topping pizza for only $17.99 at Papa John's.
My utility bills are going through the roof. How can I take advantage of the sun and put my lazy roof to work?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Energy team reporting. When you're ready to make your home or business more efficient, Action Electrical has the power to install solar panel systems and EV chargers.
Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta with supercharged skills and strong family values. ActionElectrical.net.
Jonathan and Murray are friends.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy. Except when they talk about which stadium is more fun in the summer.
Dude, Commonwealth has Elks fan park. Tailgating at its finest.
But it can't compare to the old ballpark in the River Valley. Riverhawks games are electric. But ask them who makes the best beef jerky in Alberta, and they'll tell you.
Wilhawk Beef Jerky.
It's the only thing everyone can agree on. So, pick some up for your summer pregame snack.
Wilhawk Beef Jerky, because you don't win friends with salad.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Clock. Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Once again, big thank you to Simeon Rowe, too. We got a lot of text messages coming in. They're like, fellas, that's unreal. I'm not a big football fan, but he's a great storyteller. I like how he tells a story inside of a story. From Chris. You know what? Sim's a really bright guy. But it is no joke. Like, he looks younger now than he did when he played. It's amazing. He's using some of those skin creams or something, it must be. Living life well, eh, Cons?
I'm a firm believer that, offensive linemen, when they quit the game, they have that glow up. They're not trying to keep that weight on, and you don't have to look so intimidating. Like, the good linemen have that kind of aura to them, like the long hair, the beard, they're trying to look a little bit scary. He's not as intimidating as he once was. Still probably broke fingers in my hand with a handshake, but
he does have big mitts.
Yeah, solid, firm handshake, kind of just crumpled my fingers, but yeah, good guy, great interview. He seems like he could do this if he wanted to.
Yeah. So he's a really good guy, and he loved his time in football. And I love the story of, just didn't really know much about it, just wanted to try it. Big, strong guy, natural athlete, and You know, obviously got to have some size. Like you have to have some natural size to suddenly become an offensive lineman, right? Like you can't work out your way into being 6'6", you know. So, but you can work your way into having to add on the muscle and the mass to be a successful lineman, right? That takes a lot of work as well. So, good for him. Got a lot of texts coming in. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey guys, Greg's, I just caught the end of it last hour. Can you upgrade me on the golf thing? Yes. So we have 3 spots left to get in. So it's very easy. It's going to cost you 100 bones to enter. Then we do the draw. We got a 1 in 12 chance, pretty good chance. And so we raise it $1,200. And then the name drawn, you'll win the foursome, the final foursome in this Friday's golf tournament down at the Millwoods Golf Club. It's the 7th annual Oilers Nation Open, and all the money raised. We're lucky that Gregor Foundation is the charity of choice at the tournament. It's loads of fun. There's lots of fun holes. I can tell you it's a very laid back tournament. Lots of people who are diehard sports fans, diehard Oilers fans with you. So if you want in, you can golf. It's a 9 a.m. tee off, so early but not too early, which is perfect. Play a little August hooky. Just make your long weekend an extra long weekend. Most of you are going to mail it in Friday anyway. Who's kidding ourselves? Right? So it's the last kind of Friday of the summer for a lot of people. So you're like, let's finish it with a bang. So we have 3 spots left to enter. 833-401-1440. Just text in with your name. Say you're in for the 100. We'll send you where you can make your donation. Once we get all 12 of them, then we'll do the draw, and one person wins. So basically it'll cost you $100 and you'll get a foursome. So it's pretty good odds. Pretty good odds. And you can raise some money and have a load of fun. So 833-401-1440. 100 bones for a foursome. Heck, you share it with your buddies. It's $25 each. It's a pretty good deal. Really good deal. Now, coming up in the final few hours of the show today, we are Edward and Cena will join us. We'll talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning as we continue our off-season previews of the NHL teams. We got Spec. We got the commissioner of the CFL, Randy Ambrosi. We got a lot of questions. Some questions about the CFL, and I can guarantee you there will not be an expansion question because there's no point asking the question. That'd be a waste of time because they aren't anywhere close. Unless there's a stadium that's being dug that I'm unaware of, they are no closer today than they were in 2017, 2012, 2010, 2008. As many years as they've been talking about expansion in the CFL, they are not any closer today than they were then. You might have somebody else interested, great. But interested in having action are two very, very different things. So we'll talk about other things that matter, like, the online presence of the CFL. You look at attendance in some places. It's a concern. How do you get now? TV numbers are good. So why are your TV numbers good, but your attendance number is not reflecting that? What's missing there? So we'll talk to Randy about that. Also, lots of changes in the command center here in the second half of the CFL season. So we'll get to all of that. Also, we are 8 days away from the opening of the NFL season. Jamar Chase for Bengals fans, fantasy football owners. Chase not on the field today. Do we get any confirmation? Is this injury related? Is this contract related? Is it both? What is it?
I think it is just a contract here. It's a little bit of a wait and see type of thing. I think very similar to Brandon Ayuk with San Francisco. He was seen leaving Niners practice, no gear on. So both of these guys, it's the hold in, I believe. You're not holding out. You're staying there. You want to make sure you're learning the playbook. You're there with the guys. You're not trying to make it a nasty situation by any means, but you still want to get that money. And, we just saw a big contract handed out with CeeDee Lamb. So the blueprint is there for these teams. You got to think they'll be getting a little bit close. If I'm Brandon Ayuk, I'm probably saying I just a little hair under CeeDee Lamb. If I'm Jamar Chase, I might say that's where I want to be, right on par. But the blueprint's there. Like I said, these should be getting done quicker rather than later. But every day they don't practice, Gregor. You got to think, are they ready to go in week 1? Because it is, like you said, very quickly approaching.
Oh, very much so. So we got a lot of text flying in, 833-401-1440. Hey guys, I really enjoyed that interview with Sim. On an Elks related note, what's their thoughts? Anything new on the kicker? Well, if you missed it yesterday, Kevin Carius had head coach Jarius Jackson on the show. and asked him about that. And Jackson's response was not one, no, we're not looking. He goes, the coaches are going to be discussing it. Now, they didn't practice today. They'll be on the field tomorrow. They'll practice Thursday, Friday, Saturday, travel to Calgary on Sunday, and then they'll play Monday. I would guess. Now, maybe they could have got the guy in and we'll see him show up tomorrow on the practice field. But doesn't look like there's anything. And the problem with that is, so let's say he has one okay game. Let's say the next game he goes 2 for 2 in field goals. It doesn't mean that now maybe everything's fixed, but then the next game he goes and misses a crucial one again. That's the risk about when you have a kicker who right now is at 72%. So he can make his next 2, but then he misses one of the next 2, and guess what? Now he's 3 out of 4, and he's 75% again. That's the challenge, and so we've talked about it. Montreal would be the place to consider right now if they want to. You can go in the practice roster. Like they got a starting kicker, they got a practice roster kicker, and they got an injured kicker who's getting close to coming back. So it could be maybe they just wait it out, or you just go for it right now. But it's definitely one that I think you could look at for sure. Hey boys, I taught Simeon's father and uncle way back in the 70s in Westlock, both in my gym class. Very respectful students from Jimbo. Look at hey Jimbo, shout out to you and all the other teachers, by the way, for all of those. Today's back to school day, I think officially for lots of people. For kids. Now, you might have a staggered start, right? I think, what is it, A to H, or I don't even know how the alphabet, where they cut it off at. But, half the kids go today in a class and they get tomorrow off. The other half go tomorrow. Then everybody's in there on Friday, and away you go. Like, I remember when I was a kid, it was very different. Like, Labor Day meant school was starting on the Tuesday. That's how it always was. Like, I just kind of feel like they're getting ripped off. You shouldn't be in school in August. But that's probably because that's what I grew up with. So that's what I was used to. I would just feel like, what? But if that's what they're used to, they've never known any different, so they're probably just fine. Right? And they must get an extra holiday somewhere else during the year to even it out. But either way, that's how, wasn't it for you, Cons? Like elementary started, and every school, I don't ever remember going back to school until the Tuesday after Labor Day.
Yeah, every single year. That was kind of the downside to it. You had the long weekend, but it wasn't really a long weekend when you're in school or in the summer break. You're going back after that Tuesday. The good part was Tuesday was a bit of a intro day. Then you just had to get through 3 days. Then you had the weekend again. And then I always remember personally, Gregor, those little tickets you got, the vouchers for the Eskimos Labor Day rematch game. That was always an awesome way to start the school year. So I'm with you. Definitely don't remember going back before Labor Day.
Yeah. So either way, that's how it is. Also, I don't know if you noticed it, but today was the opening ceremonies for the Paralympics in Paris. And the competition gets going tomorrow. They was spectacular. Some of the pictures and the video I was watching for the opening ceremonies. So that's a huge event. There's some local athletes we're going to focus on at the Paralympic, including, did you know, from St. Albert, the youngest member of Canada's Paralympic team. We had him on the show. Reed Maxwell. He's in 5 different events in swimming, and is a contender in a few of them. So we'll be watching quite a few. So I'm sure some of you out there, if there's any local athletes you want us to highlight, let us know. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. We'll get back to the hockey texts because I can get to all of them. I got to go find some of them. Hey guys, I would usually say the regular season doesn't matter as long as you make the playoffs, but I feel the Oilers need to win the Pacific, if not the whole West, just so they can ensure home ice advantage. What might have been last year if Game 7 was at home. I don't feel that this defensive core is good enough for the Oilers to win the West or even the Pacific. Making a trade for a better secondary option makes sense to me, but I don't know if they can make the money work. What a mess this has created from Trailer Park Ryan. Well, I do agree with you, Ryan, that the regular season, people who say it doesn't matter, I think they're missing the boat. You can't win the Stanley Cup in the regular season. That's 100% accurate. But you can increase your odds by home ice advantage and other things. I do believe the Oilers are good enough. Like, look at Vancouver. Look at the Demko question marks for them. They got questions. What about Vegas? Like, did Vegas really upgrade their offense in the offseason? Is LA that much better that you think they're gonna run away with the division? So I still think the Pacific Division is Edmonton's to lose. Now, the West, little bit different story. Dallas, Colorado, yeah, they're good. So I do think the Oilers players are well aware of the advantages that home ice can offer. Like, look at when they've lost series. Colorado swept. Florida beat them. Vegas, all with, key games at times starting the series because the Oilers weren't very good in game one prior to this year. So, yeah, I think for sure they understand the importance of it. No question. They only had home ice advantage in the second round once, right, in the McDavid era. Or no, never. They didn't have it against Calgary. They didn't have it against Vancouver this year. They didn't have it against Vegas. So, yeah, like you've got to get home ice advantage for more than one round minimum, I would think. That has to be the goal. The Oilers, as an organization, have the longest drought in the NHL of winning their division. Now, some teams like Columbus have never won their division, but they haven't been in the league that long. The Oilers haven't won the division since 1987. That is the longest drought in the NHL. Next up is the Islanders in 1988. I would think Edmonton right now on paper has a much better chance to end their drought. So we'll see where they go. But I would agree that home ice matters. I do think the Oilers defense core is going to be good enough if everybody plays to their potential. Like, you don't have, like, the rest of their team is good. They don't need all-stars to be competitive. Like Troy Stetcher, I crunched the numbers. Like, Troy Stetcher has been a solid NHL defenseman. And if you put him, let's just argument for sake that he might play in your second pair. So, courtesy of puckiq.com, if you look at his numbers over the last few seasons, he played over 5,000 minutes against either elite or middle opponents. And his goals against was 176 for, 178 against. Not awful. And remember, none of those teams had McDavid or Draisaitl. They didn't have, a Hyman. They didn't have a dominant team by any stretch. He's in Arizona. He's in Detroit. He was in Calgary for a brief time. Really, outside of his first few years in Vancouver when they were decent, he's never really been on a highly competitive team. So naturally, you play with other offensive teams. Like the year in Detroit, they were the worst offensive team in the league. So even if you're not giving up very much, you're just never scoring. So it's going to be hard to have a good goals against ratio, right? Automatically. So I look at the Oilers. We'll go from there. Hey, Greggs, what was the answer to your trivia question in Oilers Nation article? So here, we'll see if any of our listeners know it. Then I'll say it after the break. So the Oilers have had 21 different players have at least one 5-game goal scoring streak. Gretzky did it 16 different times. Curry and Draisaitl have done it 9 times. McDavid 6, et cetera, et cetera. One of those players had a 5-game consecutive goal scoring streak for the Oilers, but he only ever scored fewer than 20 goals as a member of the team. Do you know who it is? 833-401-1440. He had one 5-game goal scoring streak in his career as a member of the Oilers. He's never even scored 20 goals as an Oiler. So he got hot for a real short period of time. We'll come back. Well, we'll talk Tampa Bay and give you the answer on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
12. Not spending the afternoon tubing on the Pembina? Next, you're going to tell us you don't wear flannel. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they won't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
You see us working on the roads. You see us working in neighborhoods throughout Edmonton and area. But what are we doing? We are GS Construction, and we're moving, upgrading, and repairing all of that underground infrastructure so that other work can go on. Things like maintaining water, wastewater, and stormwater draining services. Things you may take for granted, but definitely need. For 50 years, GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community. Find out more by going to gsconstruction.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
The Brick's famous tent sale is back in town. Find up to 60% off clearance items and check out fantastic deals in every department, like up to 30% off sofas and up to 50% off mattresses. Visit the Brick while the tent is up and the prices are down. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Bacon or sausage and egg McMuffin? It's a delicious dilemma. But what if you didn't have to choose? The Mighty McMuffin is back with bacon and sausage. Mighty McMuffin, mighty impressive. For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada.
So you've decided you want to start hiking. Nobody would say, I'll just wear my kids' flip-flops until I have more experience. The first thing you do is buy the right shoe size and style to fit you. Same with golf. You can't just buy clubs off the rack. They won't be the right size or style for you. Only Fitted Golf works with you to identify your swing style and then matches your clubs exactly to that swing. Check out our Instagram and YouTube channel to see the success others have with clubs fit to their swing. Fitted Golf, where we continue to prove it's your clubs.
Diablo Boots in Canada West. 2 great names in work and cowboy boots. For over 60 years, Diablo has been selling the best-made Canadian boots. Diablo has boots from sizes 6E to size 15 EE, just for you. Why buy boots made in China like Ariat, Justin, or Red Wing, when Diablo has the best quality for less, made in Canada? Diablo has work and cowboy boots with replaceable soles and heels for longer life. So, save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard, on the east side of Save On Foods. Hurry in today for best selection.
Take on summer adventure with GMC. Right now, get 0% financing for up to 60 months on the 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Elevation. With Sierra's available 5.3-liter V8 engine, 13.4-inch diagonal premium infotainment system, plus available adaptive cruise control, you'll have everything you need to get out of town comfortably this season. Hello! Definitely not comfortable with that. Ask your GMC advisor for details.
A premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development is proud to be entering its 8th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase-style regular season gameplay and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for those seeking family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes born between 2012 and 2017. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
428. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley on a lovely Wednesday afternoon. We got a lot of text flying in. Hey, one of you got it right. I like it. Congratulations. I got to make sure I'm giving credit where credit is due from the propane pimp pulls out Scott Fraser from the 1997-1998 Edmonton Oilers. Fraser scored 5 goals in 5 consecutive. Well, he scored a goal in 5 consecutive games for a total of 5. He played 29 games that year for the Oilers, had 12 goals. He was on, remember, people were like, Scott Fraser, who is Scott Fraser? Well, that was, he got hot for a short stretch. He did play the next season, played, 28 games for the Oilers, had 2 goals, and then was traded and went to the Hartford Wolfpack. So there you go. So no, actually, what am I saying? He was playing with, he never even got to the Oilers. He signed, didn't the Rangers sign him to that big offer? I think it was, right? There was a guy who scored 12 goals in 29 games and then got the big offer sheet. I think it might have been an offer sheet. I gotta double check that, but I'm pretty sure it was. So go from there. So we'll see. Should be fun. Now, I gotta double check that, but I'm pretty sure it was. Pretty sure that's what happened. So. Now, let's go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And the Big Arch is here, baby. Brand new. Oh, if you're looking for a new challenge, you're just like, you know what, I want to try a new burger. Well, get in right now. It includes 2 quarter-pound, 100 Canadian beef patties. You got the white cheddar cheese, onions, pickles, lettuce, and a new tangy and delicious Big Arch sauce right now at McDonald's as we go out to Tampa Bay as we continue to go around the NHL. And man, hey, Oilers have had a pretty interesting August, to say the least. But out in Tampa Bay, it's a significant offseason change because the captain is no longer there. Eduardo Encina joins us, beat reporter for the Tampa Bay Times. And Eduardo, I know training camp is basically 3 weeks away, and that's probably when it's going to hit everybody officially, when Stamkos doesn't return. And, I look at his numbers last year, 5-on-5, and I'm like, geez, maybe the organization saw something that said, we don't want to commit long-term. Obviously, that's what they did. What did you see overall from Stamkos? Or is that probably wishful thinking, or is this a big loss? Where do you come out on it?
Yeah, I think so. You have to look at a couple of ways. First of all, Jason, thanks for having me. I think that, first off, obviously there's the impact that Steven Stamkos makes just as the iconic player that he's been in Tampa Bay, right? Which is, 16 seasons there, the face of the franchise, captain 2 Stanley Cup teams, really kind of him and Hedman have been the cornerstones of what's really been kind of this era of success that the Lightning have had. So there's that, and obviously he's become a fan favorite. The fans love him. But yeah, there's no doubt that his 5-on-5 numbers declined last year, and even though he had a 40-goal season, you could probably look at it and see that a lot of the damage that he did was on the power play. And obviously the Lightning have had the top ranked power play in the league. And, they have so many weapons on that power play, and Stamkos from that left circle is obviously a huge part of it. So, but there's no doubt that when Julian Breezeball went and looked at this team and, tried to improve it from, at the end of the day to to back-to-back first-round losses, is that they wanted to get better defensively. And, I think, if the situation's a little bit different than that, then maybe Steven's around. But I think they looked at it and they just felt that they had to get, some better 5-on-5 play and 2-way play from their forwards. And that's not to say that Steven Stamkos was this, this non, he didn't play, 2 ways, but, I think he was minus 21, minus 24, something like that on the season. And that was pretty glaring this year, because when you look at all his numbers, that was something that really kind of stood out, in a negative way this year or this past season. So, but, it is going to be different to not see him in the locker room. It's going to be different. I think it's going to take some time to figure it out. I think that there's going to be a lot of pressure on Jake Gensel to kind of fill that spot. And, he's played with all these guys, Stamkos had played with all these guys for so long. It's going to take a while for him to get used to him not being there, and someone else on that left wing especially on that top line along with Kucherov and point.
So you look at the power play specifically, because Stamkos, he was their trigger guy, right? On that power play. Kucherov can shoot, but he's an unreal passer. Like Gensel, I just assume is the guy, but that might be a bad assumption for me. How much of a loss do you think that is? And Tampa Bay's power play has been really good for a long time. So how big of a concern do you think that is heading in?
Yeah, I think there's definitely going to be some growing pains there. And I think, just because, like I said, Kucherov and Stamkos have played together for almost more than a decade, really. And Braden Point to a lesser degree. He's been the big guy in that bumper spot, and so there's always been the consistency. Victor Hedman, up top there at the defenseman spot. So when you take everything that Stamkos does, and especially the way that the Kucherov runs that power play, as the catalyst, it's all about him finding space for guys, and you always knew that. Stamkos would kind of find his spot there, he'd get that one-timer off. And I think that Gensel will be that guy on the top unit, but from everything I've seen is he kind of gets his opportunities a little bit differently. He's not, Stamkos is a sniper, right? He's got that one-timer and he's got the trigger, up. So, but Gensel is a little bit more of a guy who kind of creates his own space or has a knack for creating space around the net. So I think you're probably going to see a little bit more movement on the power play with Gensel there instead of guys kind of sticking to their spots a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, there's definitely going to be some transition there. I mean, I think this year is going to be, as much as the core guys are still there with the exception of Stamkos, this year is going to be one of transition for the Lightning.
What about on the back end? Right, there's pretty significant moves there as well.
Right.
What do you see? Like, if you had to guess today, what would be their three pairings on opening night?
Yeah, so it's interesting because I thought going into the offseason they were going to have to move a contract, right, to get some stuff done. I didn't think it was going to be moving Mikhail Sergachev. Now, obviously, he has this used contract, but he kind of was kind of the future of the next great Lightning defenseman, and obviously he's played in Victor Hedman's shadows, but he is a number one defenseman. I think he'll be that in Utah. But they get JJ Moser, and I think that you bring back Ryan McDonough. So on the left side, I think you probably have I wouldn't be surprised to see Moser starting off on the right side, because the way you have a big four there with Hedman, McDonough, Moser, and Eric Chernak. I think guys, those are the guys who want to really kind of log on all the majority of the minutes. And so I think you'd see, Hedman and McDonough on the left side and Moser and Chernak on the right side to start off. And then, at the end of that third pairing be, a combination, probably Emil Lilleberg, who really played really well as a rookie last year, kind of came out of nowhere. And then, either Darren Radish or Nick Pervik. So on the right side there, and it's always going to, shift out, it's not necessarily easy playing along with Victor Hedman, because he's such a guy who jumps up and plays. So you need to have a guy there who can, know where he's going to go and kind of have a feel for Victor and how he jumps up in the offense. So I think that's going to be something that, dictates who's going to play with him. But having Ryan McDonough is another part of getting him back, is another part of that, philosophy to get this team better defensively. Because to be honest, that back end hasn't been the same since McDonough was traded a couple years ago. And when you look at the core of that group, of that back end of those Stanley Cup teams, it was Hedman, McDonough, and Sergachev. So obviously you lose Sergachev, but they had to give up something to fit guys in within the cap. Whether that was going to be trying to keep Stamkos, or going out there and getting a big acquisition like Gensel. So. But the back end will be, again, it's going to be something that's going to be a process, and something we're going to have to see day to day to see how it kind of evolves.
You look at John Cooper; he's been considered one of the best coaches in the league, so might have to do a little bit of coaching more this season. But they still got obviously got Vasilevsky, who wasn't ready to go at the start of last season, and he'll be there. And they got Hedman and. Their back end, and JJ Moser, I think, is probably an underrated defenseman. He'll come in, and I'm not saying he's going to be Sergachev, but he's pretty solid. Kucherov, Point, and Gensel. How do you see their second line shaping up?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the big question on the four lines, kind of how that middle six kind of shakes out. Obviously, if you put Gensel up top, Brandon Hagel kind of slots down, and him and Anthony Cirelli really kind of mesh well in that second line. They can kind of do a lot of things there, especially in a two-way thing. So then how does that line kind of shape out? You wonder whether, there's Connor Sheary is a guy who, really had a rough time his first year here. He was banged up, really struggled to kind of fit in. Can he kind of jump into that top six spot? Cam Atkinson's a guy who's already here. He's already skating with the team. He's excited to be here. Is he a guy who can maybe, be this, kind of reclamation guy and then kind of fit into that, middle six role? And then, after that, you've got, guys like Mikey Esamont. Nick Paul is coming off a season where, he had set career highs in goals and points as a third line center. So, that middle six, I think, is where the Lightning you're really going to find out about, really how strong this Lightning team is going to be is, just because there's a lot of places where guys could fit in, but it definitely, this team has obviously been decimated, the depth of it, since the Stanley Cup years. You can't, that's why the salary cap's in place, right? So, their depth has been tested over the years. I think now, it's probably really only a handful of guys who really were on that second Stanley Cup team, still, on the roster. So, yeah. But it is, like you said, it's the important guys. It is the Hedmans, the Kucherovs, the Points, the Vasilevsky. So, no matter what, those are going to be the guys that are going to lead the way. But at the same time, that depth, just like anything else, that's what's going to get you, not just to the playoffs, but, really going to make ways for you, down the stretch and once games really matter, come April and May and June.
Eduardo, I really appreciate the rundown, man. Thanks for this. We're 3 weeks away from training camp, and Tampa Bay will be a team that a lot of people are watching just to see what the power play alignment is for fantasy players and more. So we look forward to it. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, Jason. Anytime.
You bet. There's Eduardo Encina joining us from the Tampa Bay Times. So the Lightning, when you think about it, like you would just assume it's Gensel, but like he said, maybe they're gonna kind of have to change around so guys aren't in set positions. Like that's the one thing that the Oilers power play does maybe better than any other power play in the league. They figured it out that they're in constant motion, and they move guys around all different places. Now Hyman doesn't move a ton, but Nugent Hopkins, McDavid, even Evan Bouchard, right? Sometimes he's at the top of the umbrella. Sometimes you'll see him slide over to the right. And then he has to anticipate the play. Sometimes he's got to get to the left, not to be a shooting threat, but just to get in a position, to be a bumper and make some plays. So when they're their best, they're in motion. But even the Oilers power play, I wonder if this is the year we see the first unit not out as much. We'll debate that. We'll return. When we come back, we got 5 questions and more on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the word. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Whether it's your family's first RV or time to upgrade, we're always here to help at Vision RV. Hi, Larry Ricci inviting you to stop by Vision's brand new showroom today. Out on the lot, literally acres of new and pre-owned models. Are you into deep woods camping or more in the comforts of glamping? You'll find it here, the right RV at the right price. quick on-site financing, and remember, we give you more for your trade at Vision RV. Easy to find, just south of the Yellowhead on Highway 60.
A crowd this big can only mean one thing. 0% financing at Chevrolet. Right now, get 0% financing for up to 60 months on the 2024 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 Crew Cab RST. Get the power you want this summer with Silverado's 6.2-liter V8 engine. Plus, get the comfort you need with dual-zone automatic climate control and a 13.4-inch diagonal infotainment system. Hurry, these trucks won't last long. Ask your Chevrolet advisor for details.
But take it all right. But take it all right. Holy shirt for the cost of railroad stack. Holy shirt I own this ain't back. I'm giving up every single guy. I'm the apple of my.
Continuing on, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. How are you? We have 3 spots still remaining. I'd love to sell these out. Otherwise, I guess your odds are better. But we have 3 spots remaining. It's $100 to get in the draw. And we'll do the draw once those 3 spots are filled. And it's $100, gets you in, and you can win the foursome, valued at over $1,200, for this Friday, the last foursome available in the 7th Annual Oilers Nation Golf Tournament that goes at Millwoods Golf and Country Club. Okay, it's a 9 a.m. tee off. That'll cost you $100 for a foursome. It's a pretty good deal. Heck, get your 3 buddies or just tell them, hey, it's $25. Or just say, I got this one. You guys get the beer. Good deal. Good deal. So there'll be a few of those in the course too. So if you want in this Friday, I looked at the weather. It's going to be great. It's perfect tee off. Perfect start to the long weekend. The final Friday of summer on the golf course. Can't get better than that. So 833-401-1440. Just send in your name and a text with say, hey, I want in on the golf for 100 bones, and we'll send you where you can enter. So 3 spots remaining. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. And you can check out The Brick's fabulous tent sale for all your home outfitting needs for mattresses, bedroom decor, sofas, appliances, electronics, and more. Check it out at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, we saw the news over the last few days that Sam Gagner does want to return for an 18th season in the NHL and looks like would be willing to do so on a PTO basis. So if you had to pick a team that you think would look at Sam Gagner on a PTO, who do you think it would be?
Honestly, I have no idea. I think it would have to, like, I look at a team that says, okay, can we use a veteran player who's highly competitive, who understands where he is in his career, who I think, like Chicago, to me, could make sense. Like Sam Gagner is a player who understands the pressures of being a top pick, who understands, played top 6 for a while, then had to switch out, was on the power play, ended up being a bottom 6 player. He's evolved throughout the years for his game. He's never going to be a distraction in your locker room ever. He's going to be a real positive influence. So I would look at Anaheim. Chicago would probably be the 2 teams top of my list.
Yeah, Chicago is one that I thought too, a team that could use a guy like him. For me personally, like if he's going to go somewhere, be that 13th forward, I think it'd be cool to see him with the team that has a chance to contend and at least get into the playoffs again. But those 2 teams for me, I think would be more likely just on a basis of, hey, he is what he is. He's not going to be a guy who can go out there every single night, I don't think, but knows his role and accepts it. So, yeah, I'm hoping he'll end up on a team where he's a chance at least to get into the playoffs here. We just discussed the Tampa Bay Lightning with Eduardo Encina in the last segment. Where do you see them finishing in their division this season?
It's a good question. Well, Florida, Toronto, Boston, Tampa. Ooh, that's a pretty good 4. They were 4th last year with 98 points. I honestly don't see them taking a big step back. I'm going to say 3rd.
Yeah, I hate to agree exactly with you. I feel like they're going to pass Boston this year. I think the Panthers, Leafs, and Lightning will be right in there. And I wouldn't even count them out to being second. I like what they did this offseason. Losing Stamkos sucks, but I think they'll be top 3 for sure, maybe even second. Question number 3 for you. Russell Wilson named the Steelers starting quarterback heading into week 1 earlier today. Do you think he'll start all year? And if not, when do you think Justin Fields gets the call?
Ooh. Well, the Steelers always find a way to be 500. Like, when was the last year they weren't 500?
Good question.
Honestly, isn't it like 30 some years or something ridiculous? So I will say Russell, like, I don't know, but I'll admit that I have a soft spot for Justin Fields. But Russell Wilson, actually, last year's numbers weren't bad at all. So I'll say Wilson starts like 14 of their games.
Pretty good run. I just wanted to check here. I believe we're back to 2003, where they were 6-10. It was the last time they were below 500. You know what? Honestly, I think the schedule, like they're not world beaters by any means, obviously, but the schedule isn't that tough. I think they could roll 500 for a long time. I'm going to say it's going to be a similar situation to Russell Wilson last year. Circumstances where maybe not necessarily exactly like Denver, but they want to give Justin Fields a shot. I would say by week 11, going into their game against Baltimore, or maybe even the week before, if it's not going smoothly, because they'll have their bye week before they go to Washington. So by week 10 or 11, I think Justin Fields will get this starting job there and see what he can do. The Paralympics getting going in Paris today. Is there a sport of the games that they'll be taking part in that you're a little more intrigued by to watch?
Go ahead.
I like wheelchair rugby. I think that one's fun to watch. There was that documentary on it.
Yes.
It's called Murder Ball.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, like I think wheelchair rugby is one that I'm definitely going to be appointment television, making sure I can at least PVR it, because I think that's going to be fun to watch.
Well, I'm definitely watching the swimming, obviously, because young lad, big lad in our neighborhood, Reed, is swimming, and so I enjoy that. But I like watching table tennis now, and like I loved watching the Olympics, so I'll watch it at the Paralympics. To me, the Paralympics is a lot like the Olympics for me. There's lots of sports that are highly entertaining, but there's a few that I would watch more than others, and those would be the top 2.
Final question for you today. Today is National Radio Commercials Day. I think we've got some great ones here on Sports 1440. Legacy Heating and Cooling, always bringing it. But when you go back all time, do you have a favorite commercial jingle?
Oh, geez.
I'll let you go TV too if it makes it easier.
When Cam Tate did his Call Legacy earlier this year, God, that was pretty funny. Oh God, we were dying. I probably would have to go with Where's the Beef? Right, the old lady. Now was that Wendy's? I don't even know what the commercial was.
Yeah, Wendy's.
I just remember Where's the Beef. That one was classic. And what's that? But that was awesome too.
For me, the one I always remember growing up, I feel like maybe it was just the station we had. My dad would always set the alarm, and it would be to a radio station. And it was The Legend of the Chevy Farm, Westgate Chevrolet.
Oh, yeah.
Like they put a little more effort into it, had a good song. I don't think it ever changed, but everything else around it would change, but you always had The Legend of the Chevy Farm. I think a whip and Westgate Chevrolet.
Yeah.
That would be the one for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? It's it works if it's catchy that many years later.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so that's good. It's hard. It's hard to come up. I will say, who does, like, we got a lot of really good commercial on the station, but the Mr. Rooter character is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Right. Like they, probably one of the funnier ones in recent years was when Oodle Noodle had their spot about how pizzas were building potholes overnight and they were screwing up the city. Like, so ridiculous, but it's funny. So, come up with those. Hey guys, what about the Oscar Mayer Baloney song? Wasn't it Oscar Mayer Wieners?
Oscar Mayer, Wieners for sure.
Yeah. Couldn't have been Baloney. Get it? You know what? The other one that stood out for a long time, it might be before your time, Cons. I never went there, but I knew it. Somebody out there probably went there. Just remember, 5050. If you're hungry, call the Lido. Free delivery. Some of you must have went there. I never went, but I remember it. At least the commercial lingo.
What is the Lido?
It was a restaurant.
Okay.
If you're hungry, call the Lido. Free delivery. Yeah.
Alarm Force was another good one.
Yeah. It was, what was it? 426-5050. That's what it was. So, yeah. But now somebody be honest. Did you eat it at the Lido? Was it good? I never did. So I can't comment. I can't say if it was good. And even though I remember the jingle, it didn't entice me to go there. But it's limited to the farm all the time. But I heard it on John Short's show quite often. So I get it. Hey, Gregor, if your hypothesis regarding the first power play not getting their guaranteed 90 seconds come to fruition, could we see them shooting sooner rather than trying to pass the puck into the net for the first 75 seconds? Dare to dream. P.S. With Kane starting the season, no Dehar, no Carrick, no Hollywood, and older Perry, where's the team toughness? Teams are already taking liberties with McDavid. I see a long season ahead for the Oilers Stars. The Oilers can't afford losing Nurse or Ekholm for 5 minutes, and I don't think Hyman should be dropping the gloves off him from Haji. Well, I guess, do we really see teams taking liberties with McDavid very often? Like, he has the puck a lot. Contact is allowed. I don't recall a lot of cheap shots on McDavid. It is a valid concern. I think Josh Brown is a guy who's they hope is there to replace the toughness of Desharnais. Kane's toughness is not being replaced. Right? Arvidsson's a competitive little SOB. Now, I'm not a fighter, but he's competitive. Hey, remember Matthias Janmark late in the season last year? All of a sudden, dropping the flippers, going nuts. If you need to in a pinch, he'd do it. But it is fair. They don't. I don't know if you need a lot. If I'm being honest, like I love the tenacity of players. I think it's important on your team. Brett Kulak can hold his own if needed. But you're right. Like losing Desharnais and Kane specifically at the high end, yes. But Brown can bring toughness. Now, how many games, how many minutes he's going to play? Total valid question. But they signed him for 3 years. Like, they must like him. I didn't watch him a lot, to be honest. Like, I've seen his numbers. He played in some bad teams. He had some bad numbers. But what does that mean? Like, I'm not expecting him to come in here and light things up on fire by any stretch of the imagination. But I do think that it is something that's lacking in their forward group, especially without Kane. No question in my mind, especially without Kane. So, 451. Hey, we're down to 2 entries left, baby. We only got 2 to go. I like it. 833-401-1440. You got really good odds to get in the draw to win a foursome. It's $100 to get a foursome on Friday, the final foursome for the Oilers Nation 7th Annual Golf Classic. All the money goes to the Gregor Foundation, so thank you very much. We're going to have loads of fun. It's Friday morning tee-offs at 9 o'clock in Millwoods. Okay, so plan ahead. If you think you can go get a group, we got 2 entries left. It's 100 bones. You go in the draw, somebody wins. Only 2 left. 833-401-1440. Just text in with your name. Say, I'm in for the 100. We'll send you the link where you can donate. It's very easy. We'll return after a Connor Halley Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. And the watermelon wave is still here. Summer's still here. Don't think it's going anywhere. And the watermelon wave, the fan favorite, is back. Get yours today at Booster Juice.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Sean Lemon will not be returning to the Montreal Alouettes lineup anytime soon, as the CFL announced that an independent arbitrator had upheld its indefinite suspension of the defensive lineman for sports. Betting the arbitrator's decision is binding and could spell the end of Lemon's 13-year career in the CFL. Down south, Mike Tomlin announced today that 9-time Pro Bowl quarterback Russell Martin will get the start for the Steelers in Week 1, putting an end to the quarterback competition with Justin Fields. And the Dallas Cowboys agreeing to terms on a contract with veteran running back Dalvin Cook. Will start off the season on the practice squad with Dallas. And in the NHL, where Empress Hawes debuted in a Chicago Blackhawks uniform may have to wait as the team announces the 31-year-old goaltender underwent meniscus surgery on his right knee and will be out 5 to 7 weeks. The Blackhawks will kick off their season October 8th in Utah. And Edmonton's very own Eric Zabrowski has received a call to the show. The Cleveland Guardians selected the contract of the lefty earlier today. Zabrowski was drafted in the 14th round, 411th overall by the Padres in 2018. On the diamond right now, a couple games are underway. Rangers lead the White Sox 3-1 midway through the 7th. That's resuming yesterday's game, which was postponed due to weather. In the first, Tigers and Angels scoreless. Athletics lead the Reds 1-0, and the Yankees trailing the Nationals 1-0 as well. Later tonight, Jays taking on the Red Sox out at Fenway. And in the WNBA tonight, 5 games. You got the Sun and the Fever, Sky Mystics, Liberty up against the Sparks, Mercury host the Lynx, and the Dream head to Seattle. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and CFL Commissioner Randy Ambrosi. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
The road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a new 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers, or save $7,500 on all new 2024 XC60 Recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide how to move forward, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Bacon or sausage and egg McMuffin? It's a delicious dilemma. But what if you didn't have to choose? The Mighty McMuffin is back with bacon and sausage. Mighty McMuffin, mighty impressive. For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada.
The Bricks famous tent sale is back in town. Find up to 60% off clearance items and check out fantastic deals in every department. Like up to 30% off sofas and up to 50% off mattresses. Visit the Brick while the tent is up and the prices are down. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Buying a vehicle at Sherwood Honda comes with 0% intimidation. Seriously, they want you to feel comfortable. So ask anything. There are no dumb questions. How does this car compare to that truck? Ask it. Could the payment be this much instead? Feel free to ask. At Sherwood Honda, you can ask anything without fear of judgment. Like, do you folks have a jingle? Okay, a few dumb questions. And if you have questions about car buying, it sure would make sense to ask Sherwood Honda.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Take on summer adventure with GMC. Right now, get 0% financing for up to 60 months on the 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Elevation. With Sierra's available 5.3-liter V8 engine, 13.4-inch diagonal premium infotainment system, plus available adaptive cruise control, you'll have everything you need to get out of town comfortably this season. Hello! Definitely not comfortable with that. Ask your GMC advisor for details.
Maximize your car's lifespan by performing regular maintenance services. Visit Mr. Lube for warranty-approved oil change, scheduled maintenance, and tire service. Open 7 days a week, no appointment needed. Mr. Lube in Spruce Grove is located at the corner of Century Road and McLeod Avenue, or visit MrLube.com.
5:03. Hey guys, my parents went to the Lido once. My mom said she got food poisoning. Never went back. Oh, jeez. People had to be eating there. The jingle went on for a long time. I have to think, but it's a tough one. You ever had food poisoning, Cons?
Yeah. In like the last 3 months, I got it from an unnamed place in the food court. Ruined my weekend. I was like barely getting through the show, Gregor. It was a Friday. It hit by the time I got home, and I wasn't feeling good till Monday morning.
Really?
It was awful. Like I sometimes food makes you sick. It happens. I was lethargic. I had no energy, nauseous for 48 hours. It was tough. I haven't given that place a second chance yet either.
I could see why you'd have a little stage fright.
Yeah.
But you don't want to go back. I can understand it. I know my wife got food poisoning from a wrap place, and she never went back.
Once is all it takes.
Yeah, I could see it. Right, puts a bad, no pun intended, but leaves a bad taste in your mouth, figuratively and literally, no question. So, I don't think I've ever had food poisoning, but I ate the same thing. Like I felt a little under the weather, but nothing like my wife was upchucking. So I don't know. I have a little bit of an iron gut that way. So I don't know, but who knows? I don't think I've ever had it.
When's the last time you puked?
Oh, geez. Well, probably 2 years ago. Night out. I made myself puke when I got home. I was like, I'm not going to sleep very well right now. And then boom, I felt way better. Just like get rid of it. So yeah, but that not self-imposed as far as using my own finger. Geez, I couldn't remember.
Take booze out of the picture. It's been a while.
Oh yeah. Luckily, I don't knock on wood. I don't get sick very often. So no. Hopefully, and really, I don't really drink that much anymore either. So I think the odds of me getting inebriated that much where I have to upchuck are probably pretty low too. So I had a good run though. It's the one element you won't miss. That's for sure. Let's get to the spec report brought to you by GS Construction. They are the overlooked, underappreciated part of construction. When you go around, you don't even know what they're doing, the underground construction, but it's vital. Toilet flushing, getting running water, they do a lot of that. It's GS Construction, as Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us once again. Spec, how you doing?
Ask the folks in Calgary if it's important to have good pipes. Okay?
Touche, man.
They're
Touche.
still dealing with that stuff, man. Holy wow, what a summer in Calgary.
No, not well. It's probably not going to be a great winter either. If you're a hockey fan, there, I don't see the Flames being a competitive team. Do you?
No, they're going south. You know what? They're doing this finally. The Flames of all the teams I can think of, no one's been hanging around 8th and 9th place longer than Calgary. It's been literally like since about 1992 or so. They've been a middle of the road team, and they've never really gotten worse and never gotten much better. So it's time for them to, why not? They're not beating the team up the road, Jay. They might as well rebuild and be ready when that building opens down there.
Yeah, no, it's true. And well, which is about 2 years away. I was golfing with some buddies from Calgary, and they the prediction will be, or their hope is, that it'll be ready for the start of the 26-27 season. So that's 2 years. That's about right timeline when you look at when the shovel actually gets in the ground. So way you go. Lots to discuss really, Spec, right now. In the sporting world, the Paralympics are going today. It's always I love the Olympics. The Paralympics, to me, it's really inspiring what some of these athletes are able to do, and just how athletic some of them are. It's stunning to me.
Yeah, I've never had the opportunity to cover a Paralympics and be there live, but there's a million great stories. I know a lot of reporters who have, and they say that, it's just every athlete goes through certain things to get to the peak of their profession and get to an Olympics. The Paralympics is a whole different deal, right? Many have, almost all of them have gone through some version of injury or illness, to find themselves where they are. and they really overcome, man. There's a lot of really fantastic stories of people who've overcome a lot of stuff to get to Paris this coming in the next 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, for sure, and it's great to see. Now, Spec, I don't know if you know this. You're a huge Cubs fan, but the Cubbies were trailing by 7 runs going into the 7th inning today, and came back and beat the Pittsburgh Pirates. Teams were 1,192-0 when they had a 7-run lead going into the 7th inning recently, and that ended today. 1,192-0. Like, if you're a Pirates fan, you're like, that's a tough loss.
And how many years would that, like, we're only talking about games where you trailed by 7.
7 in the 7th inning or later. I get that's in the last decade. So no one's 1,192-0. Actually, surprised. That's 4 games that I would have expected actually to be blowouts that late, but there you go. So a tough loss for the Steel today. Or sorry, the Pirates.
Sounds like the wind was blowing out in Pittsburgh, huh?
Yeah. Well, a lot of times it's the Cubbies on the end of those tough losses, but
usually,
but
usually. Have you regaled everyone in our triumph at that golf tournament yesterday, Jay?
No, I was going to leave it up to you, Spec. That we'll talk about. Yes, a day where 4 hacks played out of their mind to win with a legit 12 under.
Yeah, 12 under in a Texas scramble. That's probably as low as I've ever been part of a team that shot. So it's, you know what? We showed those electricians what for. That's all I'm going to say. An actual electrical.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Blake, the Buntings are still, they're still a little bit upset today, I would think. It was, that was a tough loss for them right from the get-go. But, we made a few more importantly, though, the thing you noticed yesterday is we were laughing about it. You're just like, when you can have good approach shots, it's much easier, right? Like when you're putting, I'm on the green from 30 feet and you got like barely a chance. And anytime you're like 8 to 10 feet, like, well, geez, we got a chance here. And then 1 out of 4 guys after watching the first 2 or 3 can maybe bury one. And that it is a much easier game and less stressful game when you're closer to the pin on a regular basis.
Yeah, lots of fun. The Eagle Rock was treated us well yesterday. The Buntings, very hospitable. Action Electrical had their big company tournament, had lots of fun, had a good steak after, a bunch of laughs, and you know what? It's a not much better way to spend a day in the summertime, Jay, than a bunch of guys out in the golf course having a joke or two.
Yeah, no, it was loads of fun. Spec, the Dante Fabro for Max win. Like, I've heard some trade rumors, and I understand there's, you're 3 weeks from training camp and people look at the depth chart on the right side. And so I don't know where the rumor came from. I don't think it was really that substantiated. I looked at it just myself and said there's 0 chance Edmonton would ever consider making this trade. It makes no sense on many levels. Dante Fabro is not somebody I think there'll be a difference maker in the playoffs. B, if you acquire him, and Kane's not ready, then Kane has to go on LTIR to start the season. So it ruins your plans of having to accrue any cap space. Like, on every level, it makes no sense to me.
Where all of a sudden these rumors just come out of nowhere, especially in the summertime. And, sure, someone says it on social media and we're all reacting to it. I've never thought that, Dante Fabro is a nice player, not enough of a player to upheave your entire salary cap situation over, right? He's not that good. The Oilers their pipeline is thin, man. It's thin. And I would think that if they're trying to upgrade here, if at all possible, they don't have many prospects left. They wouldn't mind hanging on to that one in Max Warner. I think everyone's been really impressed with them down in Bako. So, you know what? I guess I'd say, I know we're all searching for content in an August afternoon on sports radio, but I'm not ready to do backflips over some trade rumor that, I don't know who. I have no clue who reported it, where it came from. Is it legit? Is it Wood guy? Like, what's going on? Where's this stuff come from?
Yeah, well, I just think it doesn't make any sense for people who thought it would, and just calm Oilers fans down. Do you the Leon Draisaitl contract negotiation? When you consider Jackson said, "Hey, nothing will happen until we have a GM." So then the GM's hired in late July, and now here we are a month later, give or take 4 days, and there's no contract. At what point for you does the no contract for Draisaitl become a real issue? Is it day one of training camp? Is it the regular season? Or is it February? When does it become an issue for you?
Well, I think a milepost is the end of training camp because for my money, Leon comes to town. Him and the GM are in the same city for the, what's training camp these days. It's just over 2 weeks preseason. There's lots of time for the agent to come in and finish this thing. That Bowman and, the Mike Liutz people, whether it's, I'm not even positive how much of it's Andrew Scott that does the point man on Draisaitl, or if it's still Mike Liut. I'm not sure at this point, but he's a big contract for that firm, so I'm sure they all have a hand in the pot here. They've had lots of time to get the parameters down. Everybody knows what everybody's asking for. Everyone knows what we're looking at. The framework, to me, Jason, is training camp. Training camp is the time when everyone's gathered in the same city. And if they're serious about getting this thing done before the season starts and not making it a distraction, I'll give them training camp. If the season starts and it's not done, then yeah, that's a milepost. It's fair to look at the Oilers and look at Draisaitl's camp and say, okay, what's holding this thing up?
Yeah. Because to me, the only thing I can see is if the number is above 15, right? 14 and a half or 15, you're kind of like, well, geez, you know what? And I think they might even go as high as 14 and a half. But I think if you get to the 15 million range, I could see why maybe there'd be a little bit of hesitation from the Oilers, right? Because that's, in the NHL, it's a lot of money. Even with the cap going up, it's a significant amount of money because you need third and fourth line guys who can play if you want to win. That's just a proven fact. We've seen that. So that's the only thing I can see really. Is I remember there was a report Draisaitl might take less, and I chuckled. I'm like, I don't think there's any chance he will or he should, right? Like to me, if Draisaitl gets 13.5 and is the highest paid guy in the league until McDavid's contract extension kicks in, then I'm fine with it. He's the second highest scoring player in the league for the last 5 years, right? He's got a ridiculous playoff track record of production. So, there's lots of reasons why he could say, hey, I'm deserving of it based on what I've done to this point.
Well, I think that, in a cap system, it's not like if the Oilers, if Draisaitl takes $1 million less than whatever his highest, wildest dreams are, it's not like that money's going into Daryl Cate's pocket. He's spending it on players. This team spends to the cap. The history is there. I don't think anyone on any side of this thing would dispute that the Oilers will be capped out every year of the, as long as they're competitive here. So it's really up to Leon Draisaitl to make his decision for himself. How much am I worth, but how much should I leave behind so we can have a good team? Nobody knows more than Draisaitl and McDavid that a two-man team doesn't win anything because they've been a two-man team here before. And now they even surrounded by a whole bunch of good players, they still haven't won anything. So to me, no one needs to educate Leon Draisaitl on the need to be surrounded by a good team. And I would personally, I get it. If I'm his agent, if I'm his father, I'm telling him, get your share here, right? You were underpaid at 8.5 for a long time. But I would be very surprised if Leon Draisaitl puts himself in a position where he's going to eat so much of the cap space that it hinders the team around him. I guess, call me Pollyanna, but I see him settling for a $13.5, $14 million contract, leaving a little in the pot so that they can actually win something here.
Yeah. So I don't think Edmonton, I would hope, doesn't make the mistake of offering, trying to say, well, you should take 12.5. I don't think they're in that situation, to be honest. I don't think that would be the best negotiating ploy. So, well, we'll see where it goes. So do you have a date where it becomes an issue for you at all?
Well, again, I'm not worried about it today because it's been a short summer and the player is probably still enjoying himself. I mean, they're training now, but they're still not at work yet, as it were. So to me, the agent and the GM have been working behind the scenes. Everybody knows everybody's stats. To me, it is the period during training camp during which I expect this thing to get signed. I expect before the first game of the season to see a contract. So if you're asking me for a date where I'm going to start to wonder what's happening here, I guess it would be, game one of the National Hockey League season. If he's not signed by then, I want to know why he's not signed by then.
Spec, have yourself a wonderful Wednesday. Chat with you tomorrow.
All right, sounds good, Jay.
There you go. That's Mark Spector in the Spector Board, brought to you by GS Construction. When we come back, the commissioner of the CFL, Randy Ambrosie. And we have one spot left to fill, only one. Do you want to be the final win in? 833-401-1440. Text in. It's a $100 donation to get you in, and the winner will win the final foursome. It'll only cost you $100 to get the foursome in the Oilers Nation tourney this Friday morning, 9 a.m. at Millwood. So one spot left, 100 bones. If you want to be in, text in 833-401-1440.
Rule number 116. In Waterton, walk with a lean. The wind will always prop you up. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
for comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Are you afraid of losing your car or home due to debt? Don't let fear or shame hold you back from seeking help. Bankruptcy is not the only option. A consumer proposal can reduce your monthly payments, lower your overall debt, and allow you to keep your assets. My name is Parveen Middleton. I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I'm here to help you tackle your debt. Take the first step towards regaining control of your finances. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
Buying a vehicle at Sherwood Honda comes with 0% intimidation. Seriously, they want you to feel comfortable. So ask anything. There are no dumb questions. How does this car compare to that truck? Ask it. Could the payment be this much instead? Feel free to ask. At Sherwood Honda, you can ask anything without fear of judgment. Like, do you folks have a jingle? Okay, a few dumb questions. And if you have questions about car buying, it sure would make sense to ask Sherwood Honda.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Anything that's exposed to the elements or has moving parts needs regular maintenance. And when you consider an RV, well, it falls into both categories. Lots of moving parts and sitting out all the time, which is why we hire the best RV technicians in Alberta to come work here at our new, bigger store in Leduc.
Noble has giant indoor service space that can hold the biggest RVs in the world.
That's right, Bob. The vast majority of our indoor space at Noble is dedicated to service and repair. You spend the summer in the great outdoors, and we spend the winter doing scheduled maintenance, so you're ready to go next season.
Sounds like a year-round thing, Rick.
That's it exactly, Bob. Our techs are the most highly experienced men and women in the business. We're solving problems and creating solutions every day. Whatever your used RV needs, our service team has seen it before and knows exactly what to do.
And that's Noble.
NobleRV.ca.
Summer starts with the service department at Vision RV. Hi, Larry Ricci here. Before you set out for another season of camping, traveling, and exploring, be sure to book your RV in for servicing. Maybe it's a peace of mind inspection, or does your RV need some TLC? At Vision, we have 10 state-of-the-art service bays, a drive-through appointment bay, and a fully stocked parts department, plus a cozy customer lounge while you wait. Summer service, Vision RV, just south of the Yellowhead on Highway 60.
Yeah. Clock strikes upon the hour and the sun.
Every now and then, Strutty texts Cons in for one of his favorite songs, and it slides into the playlist. So usually it's on Tuesdays, but delayed one. So it's just for Strutty. Big fan of that song. Nice voice. Big singer for sure. Let's get to our big guest of the day today, brought to you by the Female Super League, a new league designed to help young girls 12U and 14U develop and continue their playing career. Sign up today at femalesuperleague.ca. As we are joined by the commissioner of the CFL, of course, former player, now the commish, Randy Ambrosi joins us. Randy, welcome back to the show. How you doing?
Good, Jason. Nice to be with you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Randy. There's been a lot of changes. Of course, a big release from the league, and obviously you played a big role in overseeing the changes in command center. And just did it feel like maybe they had reached farther than you guys wanted to, as far as suddenly they're making calls that aren't being challenged? Was that the main premise of this? What led to these mid-season changes?
Yeah, I think it was actually quite simple, and it really wasn't so much of a change as it was a reminder. We, Greg Dick, who heads up football operations, and Darren Hackwood, who runs our officiating group, and both of them are just top flight guys. But we were obviously, we noticed some of the frustration. We heard some of the frustration. And one of the things we just started talking about was reminding ourselves that the standard that we had set, that everyone had agreed to, was clear and obvious. That was really the kind of the guiding principle of the command center. And I think we had slipped away from that just a little bit. And so we just really wanted to remind our command center crews, and frankly, we wanted to remind our media partners, all of you, and we wanted to remind our fans what that standard was, and that was the standard we would hold our command center crews to. And so again, wasn't so much a change as a just reminder of what our standard really is supposed to be.
So you look at it, Randy, and what allowed it maybe to why'd you need the refresher? What was it? Just small increments where all of a sudden you find, okay, wait, we've gone past the line. We got to get back to where we want to be.
Yeah, it's a little bit like my weight. Like I'm a perfect weight, and then I kind of wake up 3 months later and go, oh boy, I had to loosen that belt off a notch or two. It just kind of creeps up on you. You know what? I'm all kidding aside. I think that was it. It just stepped in a little bit. Look, these are professionals, and they obviously want to try to the best of their ability to get it right. And there's so much technology at their disposal, the temptation to try to get it right. But we know that the standard that we set was clear and obvious, and you shouldn't have to use slow-mo. In fact, you shouldn't use slow-mo. You should just look at it in real time. You should, was there a clear and obvious mistake? If it's a bang-bang play and it was a penalty not called, you shouldn't call it. If it's a bang-bang play and there was a penalty called, you shouldn't undo it. And really, it was just, again, for us to have that conversation with each other, talk with our command center partners who do a great job. It's a very difficult job to do. And then we wanted to share that with the media and our fans to make sure that everyone understood, how the command center would function. So, look, we're going to run this way for the balance of the year. And then we're going to sit down in the off season and, do a revisit, kind of a refresher. Is the command center serving the function that we wanted it to? How did the second half of the season go? Using the clear and obvious standard, and then we'll report back to all of you and to our fans.
So, Randy, moving forward here, I guess let's talk. What's the expectation as far as the new ownership in Edmonton and how you foresee that? If like obviously you want the changes to be positive, but to go to a private owner from a league standpoint, is there anything that's really different?
Well, look, I think the first thing we got from Larry and his wife, Deb, is a real sense of their very long-term commitment to the team. And, so number one, what's great for, great for Edmonton football fans, what's great for the city of Edmonton is they've got a long-term commitment. Larry's very committed to winning. I think, we're excited. We're excited for many, many reasons, Jason. But I think what was important in the league is to have a partner that could punch with this amazing group of owners. So, now Larry Thompson is joining Amar Dome, and you've had Murray Edwards in Calgary with Calgary Sports and Entertainment. We've got great strength in Saskatchewan and Winnipeg, our two remaining community teams. They got Bob Young, Scott Mitchell, and Stelco in Hamilton, Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, Roger Greenberg and John Ruddy in Ottawa, and Pierre-Carl Palado. This is the strongest ownership group we have ever had. And now we add Larry Thompson to that group. It's a very exclusive club, and they're all committed to the future of the CFL. It's just good news for the Canadian Football League and great news for our fans.
Having seen, some teams are publicly owned and others are privately owned, from a commissioner standpoint, is one better for the league? Or are they just different?
Well, look, it's hard to argue with the success that both Winnipeg and Edmonton have had, or Winnipeg and Saskatchewan have had, I should say. And for a very, very long time, it was hard to argue with the success that Edmonton had. But, for circumstances that, have been long talked about, things changed in Edmonton. What we see in private ownership, look at what Amar's done in BC. He's clearly had a huge impact. The Lions are averaging 30,000 fans a game. They're kind of the talk of the town. Here we are. I'm actually at the stadium in Victoria, and we're here because Amar Doman, made a commitment to being here. And we're seeing that across the league with our private owners, this deep commitment to doing, innovation and doing exciting things. So, one is not necessarily better than the other. They both can work. I'm excited about both. I'm so very excited about watching what Larry Thompson will do in Edmonton, and I'm confident that it's going to be a great success.
Yeah. Okay. Now, moving forward to some other things when you look at it from a league standpoint, Randy, are you guys closer to look at, like, obviously everybody talks about they want to get a younger audience as much as they can. You want to track the younger audience. Your TV numbers are good. Your turnstile numbers in a lot of places that were strong for a long time aren't as strong as they used to be. Any reason why do you feel that people aren't coming to the games yet they're watching the games?
Well, look, I think the whole sports landscape has been changing. Look, I can remember back to a time when my parents had a 26-inch curved screen shoved into a piece of furniture in the corner of our family room. And if you could choose between that or going to a game, you would always choose the game. Today we're talking 50, 60, 70, 80, 90-inch flat screen TV, high definition, perfect resolution, surround sound, all of that. There's a real compelling reason why, people are watching sports and entertainment at home more. But our teams are doing a really good job. And I think this is the beginning of a renaissance for us. Our teams are doing a really good job. And again, because I'm in Victoria and the Lions are hosting the game, look, BC Place has become a super cool place to be. The energy inside that stadium, the things they're doing with their video cameras, the things they're doing with their music, the energy that's being created inside that stadium, the energy that's being created in the tailgate in the Terry Fox Plaza before the game, all of those things are contributing to an environment that fans want to be part of that. So I think what we've now seen, what's happened in Winnipeg, Winnipeg has really emerged as one of our leading franchises. We know how much success they've had in Hamilton. The great work that Scott Mitchell and Matt Apnick have done at creating a real environment in Hamilton. And I could go across the country and give you other examples. I think we're seeing Jay McNeil, what he's doing in Calgary, and they created a new kind of a new section, for a younger fan. So, the teams are now getting creative. They're all recognizing that again, as an example, what's happening here in BC, what Amar and Dwayne Vanneau have done, turning every game into an event, having a theme, creating energy. That's really what it takes. And again, we're seeing energy being poured into all of our franchises. So look, they're fighting. We're fighting back with a compelling value proposition. Jason, one of the things that makes our league special is it's still incredibly affordable. A family can come to a CFL game for a reasonable price point. And that's, as that's not true across all of the sports. And that's what we want. We want ours to be a league that people can come and enjoy and bring their families, and other small things that are happening that are super exciting. And again, I'm using BC because I'm here, but their partnership with the Punjabi community through the Punjabi radio broadcast, and these two amazing guys that are broadcasting the game, and they're getting this whole new group of fans excited about being part of the CFL family. Again, there's just good things going on, as you said. TV ratings have been really good. Our social media, our numbers are way up. 16% on our social feeds, up 16% this year. And that's evidence that fans, especially younger fans, are consuming our product differently. They're still fans. They're consuming the product. So across all of these various mediums, Jason, we're having success. And part of that success, we want to come to a stadium and get excited about the atmosphere. And I think Larry's going to do that in Edmonton, and it's going to be the place to be that it has been for a very, very long time.
Randy Ambrosi, commissioner of the CFL, joins us. Randy, what about a fantasy football league from the CFL? That's young fans love it, right? In a 9-team league, I know people who have leagues that they've started on their own small groups, but there needs to be a bigger community. I've heard rumblings that you guys have some stuff that's close, but it's not out yet. Is that true that it's close, and do you expect it to be out next year?
No, we have a great fantasy system, and I know it because my Barb and the girls and I play it, and we have fun every week playing as a family. My son-in-laws play it with us. It's great. And look, one of the differences is we have 9 teams in our league. We have 4 games every weekend. We don't have 12, 13, 14 games in a weekend. But this is one of the things about our partnership with Genius Sports that's been really very positive. Is they revamped our fantasy platform. It's very good. They've been adding free to play games. We have huge amounts of traffic, especially from young fans that are engaging with us in a different way, but they're engaging with us, and that's creating a new generation of fans. So, Jason, we have it. I mean, through your question, I guess it signals to me we need to do a better job of talking more about it and marketing it better.
Yeah,
but there's so many good things going on within the league. The credit all goes to the governors and to the owners for making these investments in us. And look, I think we're at the beginning of a new beginning. This renaissance of the CFL starts with great ownership, and it's an amazing play on the field. I think you would agree the games this year have been phenomenal. 67% of our games decided in the last 3 minutes. 70% come from behind victories. There was a time when people were talking negatively about our quarterbacking. This year, they're just glowing and gushing about our quarterbacking. Two Canadian star quarterbacks. One right there in Edmonton in Trey Ford, another here in BC. There's just so many reasons why we are excited about our future, and I've just named a few, and there's many more behind all of that.
Well, I agree with you on the play on the field. The games, which is obviously what you want, is the excitement. Promoting and branding more from within. It's great to hear that people are playing. I don't see it very often, that's my question, right? And so maybe that's the CFL is at times maybe has to pound their chest a little bit more and, to self-promote their games, whether you get, players interacting in different ways with that. Because I look at the excitement of the game, and I don't think the CFL game has been, overall any more exciting on a continual basis. Like I've watched more games this year. My son's 10. He's watched games because there's a lot of them that are close. And to me, that's what's exciting. It doesn't matter if it's Winnipeg versus Montreal, or if it's, obviously he watches Edmonton more because that's the team he grew up watching. But I look at the games itself are good. It just seems at times like the CFL, it's a really good product that at times maybe doesn't take the time to want to stand up and say, we're really good. Is that fair?
Well, yeah, Jason, you're touching on a nerve for me. And look, I'd say this, a few years back, we commissioned a marketing research study, and it was comprehensive. And we really wanted to understand how our league was perceived, how our brand was perceived. And what came out of that was really two things, kind of this notion of what was the reason to watch the games and what was the reason to care about the league. And what their research told them is, why care? Because we're so connected to our communities. And I will say there is pound for pound, our athletes are more accessible and more involved in the community, I believe, than any other sports leagues in the world. Reason to watch, as we now understand, it's because our game is fun, fast, and entertaining. And you don't have to be the biggest sports league in the world to be funnest, fastest, and most entertaining. Jason, I think you're 100% right. I think sometimes we're too quintessentially Canadian. We're a little understated. We're a little humble. We're a little less inclined to pound our chest and be super proud of what we've got. We're a little bit afraid to kind of declare that we're best at a lot of things. And one of those things is entertaining our fans. Another is making the game. The game is super exciting and it's fast. We got this great kicking game. So Jason, maybe you need to come to the league office and spend a little time talking with us, and maybe we all just need to do a little better job of just being a little less Canadian, a little less humble, and a little more. As I feel every day, I'm just so proud to be associated with the league. I'm proud to be associated with all of you, with you, Jason, and I'm really proud to be associated now with Larry Thompson, along with the rest of the owners, because I think it's a world-class group. And again, I could go on and list all the reasons why we can get excited day in and day out. But again, to your point, Jason, maybe we just need to continue to push ourselves a little bit out of our comfort zone, just be a tiny, tiny bit less Canadian, which comes with this magnificent humility. And if we do that, the future can be bright for us.
Randy, I think this is the second year where Toronto and Hamilton, it hasn't been the classic Labor Day, right? Like last year, Hamilton played Ottawa, I think, on the rematch, and we're having a similar thing this year where it's Toronto and Ottawa. How was that received by Hamilton and Toronto fans?
Well, you know what? I think all of our fans know that our scheduling is complicated, and it's complicated because we don't always have access. We don't have first priority rights in some of our stadiums. And it means that even if you wanted to lay the schedule out certain ways, you have to make adjustments just based on availability of facilities. And scheduling in every sports league, by the way, is very complicated. And certainly it's true in this year, certainly true in the CFL, and certainly true for Toronto and Hamilton. Look, I think this Labor Day is going to be amazing. I think Toronto, looks very good. Hamilton just coming off a very good performance in Winnipeg, and the Ticats will be amped up at home. Look, Labor Day is going to start here in Victoria with BC hosting Ottawa, and they just played an amazing game this past week. Then you shift to Edmonton, or to Calgary, I should say, with Edmonton coming in. A 3-team win, a 4-team win in a division, by the way, Jason, which where anyone could literally, of the 5 teams, anyone could finish in first place at the halfway point. When's the last time in your recollection that you could say that about the Western Division? And I just think it's setting up. And again, notwithstanding the odd disappointment with scheduling, the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday has really worked for us. It's been one of the things that's helped to fuel these great TV ratings. We've seen growth in our TV ratings where, around most of the world of entertainment, TV ratings are in the decline. Ours are growing. There's so many reasons to be excited. And there's always something to work on. Jason, I remind myself every day I go to work, there's something to work on. And, but it's a pleasure to work in the league. It's a pleasure to, be part of a league that has professionals like you promoting it. And as I said, it's exciting for me to think, well, now Larry Thompson's in the league and he joins an amazing group of owners that are all committed to the future. So it's never exactly as we want it to be, but I'm going to now be quintessentially un-Canadian to say, I think we've got one of the greatest sports leagues in the world. I think we've got one of the greatest sports in the world, one of the greatest games of football in the world. And I'm just excited to be and proud to be part of it.
And lastly, Randy, I was going to say, hey, you're, as a joke, the commissioner, if you could make a decision because obviously everybody has to vote on things. If there was one change you would like to make for your league, is there one that you would want to implement for next season?
Nothing really comes to mind. Look, I am, obviously if I could change one thing, we'd have our 10th franchise. If you ask me today, what would I like to see us have in place next year? I'd like to see us have our 10th team. We're still very committed to expansion. It's going to be a longer term project. But this is why playing, in Atlantic, Canada last year and the last few years have been important. Why being here in Victoria is important. We're sharing our game with other Canadian markets. I know we're going to get there. If there's one thing I'd change, I'd have our 10th team in place. And then you'd have 5 games every weekend. You'd have a balanced schedule. We'd shave off 2 weeks of the season. That means instead of the Grey Cup being on the 19th of November, it would be in this year would be on the 12th, or certainly the 7th of November. If you ask me, there was one thing I could do, that's what I would change. And that's what we're working towards.
Randy, enjoy BC. We will talk to you again soon.
Jason, great to talk to you. Have a great day.
That's Randy Ambrosi, Commissioner of the CFL. Honestly, Cons, did you play fantasy football in CFL?
No, I did not know it was a thing. There was an initiative like 5 years ago, I remember. You did a week-to-week thing, but
I've never heard about it.
That was the last time.
I went on the league and I looked, and there is a link. All right, on one of the, but it should be on the front page in massive letters. Here's our fantasy league updated. Here's your weekly one. There's not, honestly, I didn't even know. We had people text in, Gregor, I didn't even know there's a fantasy league. How do I get to it? Well, if you go to CFL.ca, and I want to make sure I get this right, because it took me, I was looking it up while I was talking to him. If you go under Game Zone, there is a CFL fantasy primer. But there's nothing like big, it should be right in the front on the right-hand side, big bold letter, CFL fantasy. It's not even a tab fantasy. You have to click on Game Zone to see it.
Once you get there, it's kind of cool. Compete with friends, create your team, make a captain, double points. That's a cool feature.
Yes.
Looks great.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with you. That should be a banner on the front page,
and you got
right above schedule.
You should be hammered. Their social media team should be updating fantasy scores. Who's this? Look at the week. Here's the winners. Top producers. You don't see any of it. Why? I don't get it. I was blown away. I feel bad. I probably should know there's a fantasy, but I'm like, I never heard of it. I have a lot of friends who play it, and the number one thing is CFL should have it more. That's stunning to me. So they have it. Cons just said it looks good, but no one knows they have it. Well, that's terrible marketing. And I think if there was one downfall of CFL, I think their marketing is not very good of marketing themselves. Quick break. We'll come back, wrap things up. We'll do the draw. Somebody's going to win. Somebody's going golfing, $100 in the foursome. Good luck. We'll do it next.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to call Legacy. Call Legacy. For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Imagine hitting 13 out of 14 fairways from the tee. It can happen. It does happen with a driver created for you by Fitted Golf. We are the only company in Edmonton who fits for all 9 features of each golf club. Amateurs learn to play like amateurs from amateurs. Come work with our professional team of scientists, engineers, and club builders and get fitted with the clubs designed for one golfer. You visit fittedgolf.ca today. Fitted Golf, where we continue to prove it's your clubs.
Bacon or sausage and Egg McMuffin? It's a delicious dilemma. But what if you didn't have to choose? The Mighty McMuffin is back with bacon and sausage. Mighty McMuffin, mighty impressive. For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada.
The Bricks famous tent sale is back in town. Find up to 60% off clearance items and check out fantastic deals in every department. Like up to 30% off sofas and up to 50% off mattresses. Visit the Brick while the tent is up and the prices are down. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
They say at any given moment, only 7% of people are looking for a car, and that 7% notices advertising for cars. Everyone else, 93%, doesn't even hear it. So this ad is just for the 93% who aren't going to really notice any car ads right now anyway. Hey, it's Scott here from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. And I hope you, yes, you, the person listening right now, I hope you have a great day. Anyway, that's it. I'm done.
In 2023, 20 riders lost their lives in Alberta. It was a small decrease from 2022, but we can still do better. 20 riders is far too many. Even one is too many. No matter where you are, how much experience you have, or what you're driving, please pay attention on all roads. Traffic safety is everyone's responsibility because safety comes in all shapes and sizes, from massive transport trucks to the smallest scooter. That means safety starts with you. A message from the Alberta Motorcycle Safety Society.
You don't care for me. I don't care about that. You got a new fool. I like that. I'm the only woman of burning desire. Let me stand next to your fire. Hey, let me stand next to your fire. Oh, let me stand, baby. Let me stand. Listen here, baby.
You roll along, wrapping up a busy Wednesday afternoon. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley. You see our draw box, very official here. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it, so everybody knows. And so, good luck. We have Brent, Simon, Scott, Don, Daryl, Michael, Nick, Sarah, Lincoln, Brad, Colin, and Tyson. So if you hear a name, it's first name out, you win. All right. It's very easy to do. We mix it all around because we want to be very official. This is very, very official, but there is a draw box. And the winner is, and we put the name here close to the camera so people can see that it's not rigged. And do you see that? There you go. That is Scott. Is that coming in clear? I can't even tell if it comes in clear or not, but you can see my chicken scratch. Scott, you're the winner. We'll get a hold of you, and congratulations. You are the winner. You're going to be teeing it up on Friday morning at the Ranch Golf and Country Club. Thanks everybody else for donating, helping out the Gregor Foundation. We very much appreciate that. It's awesome. Now, we have Fox Sports coming up at 6 o'clock tonight. There's lots going on. Of course, if you're an NFL fan, the season is less than a week away, or sorry, just over a week away. Next Thursday is when it starts. You got Major League Baseball, and man, you have got some unbelievable races going on right now in the Major Leagues of Baseball. It is it's fantastic. Like all of a sudden, you've got teams that are, you know, the Yankees and the Orioles are still battling for the AL East, and both of them look like they're pretty much shoo-ins that they're going to get into a wild card spot. You've got the Kansas City Royals, who are suddenly a game back of the Guardians for that division. Now they currently hold down the second wild card spot. Then you got the Twins, right? The Red Sox. Oof, there's a little bit of separation there. 4 games starts to become a lot. So you almost, maybe it's a little too early to annoy because there's still 30 some plus games. So there's still a lot of games left, but the Red Sox are going to have to get going here. Otherwise, they'll be out of it. Over in the NL, the Braves hold down the final wild card spot, and the Mets are 3 back. You know, the Cubbies 5, like the Giants. A lot of these teams have fallen off. Been a pretty big separation in the NL. Now you've got all the teams. The top 6 teams are within 6 games, from 72 wins to 78 wins. Like, man, the playoffs, I think, are going to be fantastic in MLB. If you're, I don't care what sport it is, I love playoffs because everything's better. Like the intensity rises because it's hard. Like for those of you, like it's my job, and it's hard to be able to watch every league intently enough all year long to know. But come playoff time, I'm watching, and I can't wait for MLB playoffs. And but it's kind of funny how KC has really closed that gap on the Guardians all of a sudden. Cons, I don't know if you've been watching that race, but it's been quite the KC. And hey, I guess with Bobby Witt, we shouldn't be that surprised, but right up there. And like he's having such an unreal year, but he might not win the MVP. Like Aaron Judge brought, but then somebody brought up, like, well, Aaron Judge is the MVP, but look at Juan Soto on his own team. He's right behind him. So, but I haven't looked at the wording. How do they have it? Is it just the most valuable player, not most valuable player to his team, correct? That's what changes it. So just who's most valuable player? Who's great? So, although some would say most outstanding, but because Juan Soto's not bad either. Not bad at all. As far as, he's hitting a ton. He's got the OPS off the charts. Batting average is all right, but two big hitters. Once again, thanks everyone for listening. Enjoy your Wednesday evening. Tomorrow, we got a few more special guests. Look forward to it. On behalf of Connor Halley, I'm Jason Gregor. You are listening to The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to the comment and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by eWell since 1976, providing the City of Champions and all of Alberta with the best electrical gear. Order yours now, 24/7 online store at ewel.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Sean Lemon will not be returning to the Montreal Alouettes lineup anytime soon, as the CFL announced today that an independent arbitrator had upheld its indefinite suspension of the defensive lineman for sports betting. This could effectively end Lemon's 13-year CFL career. Down south, Mike Tomlin announcing that 9-time Pro Bowl quarterback Russell Wilson has won the starting position at quarterback, beating out Justin Fields. And the Dallas Cowboys and running back Dalvin Cook agreeing to a contract today. Cook joins a crowded but questionable room down in Dallas. Spent last year with the Jets before being released and spending one game playing with the Baltimore Ravens in the postseason. Laurent Brossois' debut with the Chicago Blackhawks uniform may have to wait, as it was announced today that the 31-year-old goaltender underwent meniscus surgery on his right knee and will miss 5 to 7 weeks. The Blackhawks will kick off their regular season October 8th in Utah. Very cool news today is Edmonton's very own Eric Zabrowski received a call to the show as the Cleveland Guardians selected the contract of the left-hander reliever today. Zabrowski was drafted in the 14th round by the San Diego Padres back in 2018. On the diamond right now, Jays trail the Red Sox 1-0. That's in the bottom of the third. Finals today, Rangers knocked off the White Sox 3-1. They'll meet again later tonight. Hit the Cubbies over the Pirates 14-10. Guardians down the Royals 7-5. Astros blank the Phillies 10-0. And it was the Mariners victorious at home over the Rays. Later tonight, Orioles and Dodgers. Diamondbacks beat the Mets. The Marlins take on Colorado. And the Brewers hosting the Giants in the WNBA at halftime. Fever up on the Sun, 51-42. Kelsey Mitchell leading the way with 13 points. Later tonight, the Sky take on the Mystics. Liberty in Los Angeles. Mercury hosting the Lynx, and the Dream head to Seattle. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, Fox Sports.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio